All right. Good evening, people of Earth. Thinker St. James here alongside my good friend Chase Parton. And it is the free for all where we go over all of the comedy and the tragedy in the world of mixed martial arts. Chase, how are you, brother?
I am very, very good, and this is going to be a very good stream. I am so glad that everybody is here. Of course, give a good shout out to the chat real quick because I know I had to give it first and foremost to my boy Mank before we had to get into anything else. My boy Mank and Goal Unclear, you guys are the best. Appreciate you for being right here early because this is going to be a good one. I'm really excited. I'm like bursting at the seams here. So
Oh, well, I mean, look, yes, first of all, of course, shout out to the chat, shout out to Mank and Goal Unclear there. So I just, a little background information here. I got up today. I had a video that I was going to be putting out. I'm sure we'll talk about some of the stuff that was in there. Long day of work. I get myself prepared for this show, take a little bit of a nap, wake up refreshed, not really, kind of tune out for a little bit. I get on the stream here and you say, stay off of Twitter. Just don't check anything, just keep locked in. There's something that I need to talk about here, and we're going to talk about it on the show. So I've been very excited to get on with this thing, and I am very ready for today. So I see a blank screen of Google here. You are the captain of the ship, as always, on this one, Chase. What you got for me?
this one is going to blow your mind because there's going to be a lot of different things that we're going to have to talk about when this pops up on your screen. And I don't know what the first thing you want to talk about is, but I'm going to read it off to you and I will let you go ahead and we will just work through it. So this is
Okay.
going to be nuts.
All right.
So just about at 8:22 p.m. today. So you were locked in, maybe you were taking a nap, whatever it is, but this bombshell appeared. Breaking news: Khamzat Chimaev versus Yuri Prochazka for the UFC 327 main event, April 11th in Miami. What is
Okay.
your thoughts about this? And if you did not know, this is going to be for the 205-pound title.
Really? All right. Well, I mean, yeah, questions certainly abound. I mean, did we know that there was a move taking place? Had somebody said something about that? Did we know that Hamzat was coming back? There's so much. Also, first of all, even before all of that, my first question is this even true? Because I see who posted it.
So what is the word is this was posted and I was swiping on Twitter. I was swiping down, because everybody had to be talking about this, but it didn't seem to be anybody really talking about it, and it didn't really seem to be anybody like officially confirming it kind of deal.
Right.
There have been other people that have confirmed it. I think MMA Orbit might have done it, per Crazy Kev kind of deal.
Oh,
But
if MMA Orbit is now using Kev
I
as
don't
a
know if it
source,
was.
that's
I
a
don't know if it
problem.
was that one. I don't know if it
Okay.
was that one, but it was something where I was like, okay, there was at least one. Like it rang to me like, okay, there's one other person that like kind of did it, but I don't know, Chad. You might have to fill us in. Does anybody know if this is actually official? But this is true word. This is what's happening as of right now. I mean, there were rumors the other day. I'm pretty sure Kev also posted, talks of Gon going to heavyweight, for I'm sorry, Gon versus Alex at heavyweight for the interim belt. And well, yeah. So is Kev actually not missing, or have we been duped? Because the last that I heard, Hamzat had a foot injury. So that's another thing that we cannot
Well,
glance
yeah.
over.
You're talking about in addition to any other injuries that
It,
he was already encountered. I mean, like, yeah, this seems to be it could be Crazy Kev with confirmation from Ruben Carter. Like one just washing the other on that. I mean, like look, as far as once we find out if it's actually true or not, then I suppose it'll be a lot more real. But if we are taking it to be true, I think I'd say take it with a grain of salt at the moment. Even if it is just for fantasy's sake right now, crazy fight here. I mean, this would be something kind of ridiculous to see. But again, how did this all shake out as far like who was rumored to be? I mean, Yuri moving, obviously, right? I mean, this has to or no, yeah, right.
Hamzat moving up.
Hamzat moving. So wait, that's what I'm saying. So hold on a second. We've got we've got to. Oh, so okay. Now I'm starting to like get it all together. So we're so Alex going up, Yuri and Hamzat for the vacant. Hamzat trying to become double champ after not having defended except the one time for middleweight.
You think about that for a second, chat. Let's actually give you a little bit of love here because everybody else tried to pop in here. James, of course, Mank again, the tasteful thickness, and then
Yeah.
let's answer some questions. We had Crazy Kev doesn't miss often, to be fair, but if he misses this one, we already said it. If he misses this one, he's banned from the Discord for sure. He's not. He's banned from it forever.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, he misses often enough. Manel Kopp was literally calling him fake news the other day.
Well, and then that guy's not fighting for the belt now. I don't know if you also heard Tyrone Josh Van is now announced.
Yes, that I did hear, and that apparently appears to be official. It got opinions about that too, of course.
But then, tasteful thickness isn't Alex Pereira the champ of 205. Well, that the case is he's going to be moving up to heavyweight is what I mean, if this is somewhat to be true, or at least in talks, or at least signed, Alex would move up. And I don't know if you guys really want to hear this, but this would mean that Fluffy and Sean Strickland has now become a number one contenders fight for the vacant title. So,
well, I mean, in my estimation, it always kind of was, right? I mean, because it was supposed to be RDR in the last fight.
Imavov he was supposed to fight Hamzat. Like that was what it was gonna be, but they're brothers. Like I said, I even said that from the beginning. They are not going to fight each other because they're brothers at the end of the day, guys.
But Imavov said that he wanted to, though, right? I mean, didn't he say
But
he didn't care about that
Hamzat's leaving, so
yeah, dude. This I really think that I mean, what are you going to do about it? I guess it doesn't really matter what I think, but like I think when it comes to this kind of stuff, it's starting to get very annoying. People getting a belt and then just instantly fucking off with it,
I said the same thing. We're in this weird era where everybody's a fat person pretending to be skinny for one title, and then they're just like, I'm out of here. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. They're fighting their opponents and the weight cut just to be able to get the belt and then not have to make that fight anymore.
And I'm glad that Dana put his foot down because he probably heard the rumblings. Everybody wants this title. They want to get double champ status. They want to be double champ. It's like, yo, just because you get one fucking fight and you move on, not one fucking fight, but one title and then move on to the next one in the manner that they have been doing it. It's just not the same. And I'm glad that, they're not going to water down having so many fucking belts around them just because they can cut so much weight and then weight bully. And the thing that I want to point out, and I don't know if anybody has put this one together, you guys have definitely seen this fight already. It is called Torres Finney versus Robert Valentin, and it was a 30-27 across the boards for two judges, and then the third one gave it to Robert Valentin because who gives a fuck?
He was mad. But yeah. No, well, right. I mean that. To view it in again in fantasy terms, like if this actually were to happen, I mean I don't see this going much different than any other Hamzat fight, to be perfectly honest. I mean I think that maybe the difference might be that Yuri might be able to maybe get a couple more licks in before like Adrikas would have, maybe he'd be a little bit quicker to the draw with some power shots early and maybe there's some potential there, but other than that, I mean, it seems like pretty standard down the line Hamzat do what Hamzat does kind of thing to me. Yuri, not necessarily a guy specifically known for his amazing takedown defense or ground game.
Yeah. So this one is definitely interesting. I mean, I don't know if this has been as mind-blowing as it kind of feels it is because at this point, Crazy Kev has been known to be posting all but, all the real stuff, So I would say this is a hit, but this is just pretty crazy that this is the era that we're in where everybody is now deciding to move up. Alex Pereira, he's different because he came out and defended his belt multiple times, and then he was like, "All right, well, I can't beat Yuri every single fucking time, guys."
Oh yeah, Alex has earned it absolutely. Alex can do whatever he wants as far as that goes now. But like, I mean, I'm hung up on this though because one thing about Crazy Kev that irks me to no end, per sources, per source, what those sources, I'm a source too. You want to ask me what I think what fights are coming up? I'll spin some bullshit out my ass.
The word is Hamzat's teammate told him, and we will get into this a little later. So just keep that in
Okay.
mind. We'll keep
All
the
right.
Hamzat's teammate thing in mind.
Well, then, I mean, look, if this is actually legit, I mean, this would have to be coming up. I mean, yeah, 327. This is around the corner, basically. I mean, this is only a couple events away.
April 11th.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not super far. I do remember seeing the White House card obviously is monopolizing a lot of the resources as far as like fight announcements go. So I'd seen a post recently saying, there have been no main events announced for April. So it would make sense that we are getting some type of news about April now. If this is it, then okay. But like, I mean, I will believe it when I see it. The I guess the implications of this are more interesting necessarily than this fight, because like now basically saying we know that Alex is moving up. You know what I mean? Like there would be no two ways about it, right? He's not just going to vacate the belt for no reason.
Yeah, and not to spoil one of the news headliners that we had coming up a little bit ago or a little bit later, but yes, there was a thing that said April was 7 weeks away, and no main event has been, announced. So this would pan out to be the first. I mean, does it sound too crazy? Since we've had zero, we got to have some coming out, So we only do super fights on Paramount. This is going to be a big era. We're gonna get that stock up, 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 up. So we need some big fights, And coming around to the White House card, I mean, neither of them are going to make a quick turn. I mean, Yuri potentially could, but I don't think he's going to be. Unfortunately, that would be a fucking White House banger right there. But I guess we're just going to have him in April in Miami, and call it a day. Hamzat's definitely not making no turnaround for no White House. So
Well,
whatever.
yeah, and I mean, it's like you said, like so what like when it comes to you reminded me with the mob off and all that. I mean, like so Strickland and Fluffy becomes number one contender, and then it's vacant at middleweight, and then Imavov is the opponent.
Yes, Imava versus the winner of Strickland and Fluffy, and then DDP versus Allen is the word still. So I kind of
Yeah,
like this.
that's been in the works for a while, or at least rumored for a while. So I mean, I'm okay with that fight. I don't hate all of this if this is the true situation here. Like this is not the worst thing that could happen, but I do go back to the same point about Hamzat. Just be, it's another situation. Actually, shout out again to the Tasteful Thickness. Kind of reminds me a little bit of what he was saying. His thought in the chat kind of goes in line with what I'm saying, where it's like, Hamzat gets the belt. He basically has been sort of handed a little bit of special treatment. Now, granted, there are extenuating circumstances with him, but at the same time, not every fighter on the planet is going to be able to be injured and ill as much as him and still have the status that he does. But he gets injured all the time. He's ill all the time. He gets the belt, and now it's just okay. Now, how about double champ? Let me just serve that to you on the silver platter.
At the end of the day, I think I agree with Mank most. I mean, or Mank the most. I mean, you can't complain. I mean, if this really pans out, it is a sick fight. These are two of the biggest names at the time, and this is the guy who smashed everything versus the guy who literally makes magic in the fucking cage. So
So I'll give you that. It does suck that Hamzat is where he's at with all his style, because like it sort of negates the magic, perhaps, but
no,
it doesn't mean that it has to.
I actually think that's key here. It's like
Mm.
they gave Hamza is in his most harmless state. He's going to land 500 strikes and never come close to a finish. He's just going to lay on him. But you know who can make anybody look good? Yuri fucking Prohashka. He can make any fight fun. So like
You
that's
know,
truly, I guess, the game here.
well then, if this is actually where things are going, then I will use the power and the law of positive attraction to say, Yuri, if this is true, throw the knee. When he level changes, hit the knee. I want to see a knee to the face of Hamzat Chimaev as he is going in for the takedown. Now, granted, Hamzat sometimes does do kind of a modified entry with his takedowns, where he'll almost go down to a knee and sort of kind of be parallel with his body. So the knee might not be he's almost like level changes upright in a way sometimes, where he just uses his upper body strength to sort of muscle you around. So maybe the knee is not the most effective thing at all times. But this is where the magic comes in. Yuri, find the knee. I want to see a knee to Hamzat's face. This could be the game changer.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, Mank one more time. It's against Yuri, so somebody's got to get finished here. Yeah, that's definitely true. Yuri does not go
True.
out like a punk, and give him 5 rounds, guys. It's been a while since I feel like we've had the opportunity to see Yuri fight for 5 rounds. One of my favorite fights. I mean, Yuri and Glover. It's a fucking banger. I didn't get to see that live, but knowing that that was 4 rounds of the craziest version of Yuri that we've ever seen, kind of deal, and then we never got to see it against Alex because he gets him in the first round, and then the rematch he gets him in the second round. You had Yuri against Khalil where he gets the comeback. You had Yuri against Jamal with the comeback. But like, give me 4 and 5 Yuri when I see their opponent, and like maybe they're winning for the first three, but I just want to see those last two because I know Yuri's gonna pull out the fucking dub, and if that's Hamzat, he's gonna gas out. And Yuri's gonna fucking win this shit in the fourth or fifth round for sure.
It would be a wonderful sight. It's funny. I did a stream a couple of days ago where we were watching a data analyst break down some stats about fights and kind of where the numbers lie with certain things. And the numbers, basically, the graph is kind of interesting where submissions happen in fights. It goes down for like rounds 1, 2, and 3 is kind of a straight line down. It has a little bump in the fourth, and then it goes down again in the fifth. And I was thinking about Yuri and Glover, and I was like, there's a good example of the magic right there, the late sub. I mean, it's like that's kind of a crazy thing to put into the equation. Like so
No,
Yuri
absolutely.
Yuri is definitely the man to make magic happen, like you said.
Yeah, for sure. But either way, I just think that is the thing that we'll start out with. I mean, that was the most polarizing thing that happened, chronologically as of, if you go backwards. But there's something else that we have to talk about. And I think this one is more or less, I think, gonna be in your wheelhouse because you did an entire video on it just now. But we'll
Oh
go over
yes.
the information real quick. Dan Hooker has been exposed, everybody. I know you guys know this already. I know
Ah,
we all know. I know we know. Look, I'll even get it out the way first. We'll show this one first if you want. Look, here's a profile picture of Dan, whatever this is.
yes,
That
of
looks
course.
like him to me.
I mean, I go obviously like Chase has said, I have a video out on the channel now where I go into a lot of detail analyzing all of what is in this little video clip from Red Wolf. Yes, so I mean, based on everything that I have seen and all of what is in that video, this is pretty much a dead to rights situation as far as Dan Hooker at least being rather active as what I would class as at least a swinger in the New Zealand swinging scene.
Mm,
Um,
okay,
yeah.
I have not watched this video yet. I did not
Okay.
watch you. I played your video. I did some things. I did not actually watch it yet, but I'm gonna get back to it. But this video
Sure.
specifically, I want to run it down and then I'm gonna get some more opinions. I want to see
Okay.
if you said dead to rights. Let me see. Let me.
Well,
I
okay,
have
then
a good gaydar,
fair
everybody.
fair enough. Yeah. Okay. Well, then let me set it up just a little bit for anybody who doesn't know what the situation is here. Essentially, you see this girl that's in the background of this video clip here. That is the mistress of Dan Hooker, who is what she was calling herself his girlfriend. She has broken up with him because he was involved with a man. That was the claim, at least from her. Dan Hooker, of course, married girlfriend that he was spending a lot of money on to keep being his girlfriend, breaks up with him because apparently there was a man involved. Dan Hooker apparently spending multiple large amounts on multiple women, not only her, there's another girl, there was a girl before her, etc. And then there's the things that are in here. So that's just the background context. You can go ahead whenever you like.
Okay, this sounds great. If I had sound, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if there's actually going to be much coming, like much sound
Oh,
wise
does it
with
not?
these.
Oh, okay. I thought it was
Yeah,
like her
so
talking.
I mean,
Oh,
I
okay.
can kind of explain some of what we're seeing here.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Okay, I
Yeah,
see.
you're
So
gonna get
it's
whatever. You're gonna
let's
get
see. Do
the
they have a
sound that
picture
she
of
put
him
in.
with a man, or
Not
this is just
with a man, but these are the stories that she posted. To
gotcha?
so if you go back a little ways to some of those screen grabs, yeah, these. So what these are, and what you will definitely hear in the video that I did, these are basically what appear to be Dan communicating with guys basically talking about hooking up, like, hey, are you free on Tuesday? I'll leave the door open for you, you can come and it's service service the flagpole kind of thing.
Gotcha. And this is on a site called kiwiswingers.co.oz. Okay,
Yep.
gotcha. Interesting. Well, that is one part of the story, and
And
I'm glad that this happened in because out in the open, nobody needs to be in your business, but now that out in the open, you can be free about your life, whatever you want to be. That's on you. But I think the more interesting part, and I did not get to this video either, but I want to know if you had this in your video, you can let me know. You have this guy?
No, that's so funny that you have this. I'm so glad that you do. Yes, this came out as I was editing my video.
Gotcha.
Apparently, Dan Hooker's father-in-law, this being the father of his wife, has something to say. I didn't know that there was a video attached to it. I actually thought it was just the caption. So I've not seen this yet.
Oh, okay. So this will be good. So if anybody out there is watching, Dan Hooker, Kiwi swinger, whatever you want to say, but the step or the father-in-law has a gripe to pick, I guess. So
Yeah,
we're
and
gonna have
actually,
to
just
listen to this. Go
sure.
ahead.
Just before you play it, I just wanted to also mention that in that video clip that we were just looking at, they kind of like scrolled through a little bit. One of the more damning images on here, and I don't know, it's gonna be hard for you to probably isolate
He
it, but
paid me.
no, okay, well, no, that keep going. It would be there's a screenshot of subreddits. There you go. That's it right there, and it's a little bit hard to see, but what those are, I forget every single one of them, but two of them on there if you're interested about this element of it, one of them is r/femboys, and the other one at the very top is r/NZ gays, New Zealand gays. So just
Nice.
putting that little aspect of things out there, whatever. Now you can go ahead to the other one.
Gotcha. Okay. So now we have the father-in-law. And if you guys didn't know, he might be Drew Dober in a past
Absolute,
life.
yeah, Chad jawline. Good lord, this is certainly not a man that you'd want to fuck with.
Yeah, true. So let's see how much we wouldn't want to fuck with him.
All right.
This is a message for Dan Hooker. Tough guy. UFC fighter, yeah. All I've seen of late is you getting your ass whooped in the cage. Ass beaten up, okay? You know, years ago I wrote in my book, my autobiography, that you're a good man. But time has revealed you're a piece of shit.
Uh-oh.
Yep. You fucked with the wrong people. You got it? My daughter and my granddaughters deserve better. They don't deserve a piece of shit like you. Okay? You want to deal with this? You fucking come and see me face to face. If you're fucking a man. If you got anything about you, you come to see me face to face. But you ain't fucking that man. You're big talk, yeah? Big talk, big this, big tattoos, big fucking everything. Get in the cage. Most of the time, you get your ass whooped, yeah? This 59-year-old will fucking whoop your ass too, boy. You got it?
I need to interject first because
Sure.
the first thing he says is you fucked with the wrong people, and then he's like, you got my daughter and my granddaughter involved. He's really mad, bro, was just trying to be gay. Like, this is crazy, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I understand where this is coming from to an extent. I mean, certainly that was one of my big points in the video is that I do feel very bad for his daughter being kind of thrust into the middle of the shenanigans now. I mean, this is something that she doesn't, you saw her, it was the daughter, he brought her to the weigh-ins recently. I mean,
That's why I was confused about the whole thing. I'm like, didn't bro? That was like a very wholesome family. Like we saw the whole videos of him, and his wife. I
well,
didn't see no femboy stuff going on.
of course, obviously, it's not going to be out there, but that's actually another element of all of this that I didn't mention in the setup of everything is that the girlfriend, apparently the wife knew about her and they were cool with each other. So maybe what I had said in the video too is that like alternative lifestyles, people with different arrangements, whatever works for you, whatever, that's fine. The fact I think is that now it's blown up into this thing that is what I guess this guy is thinking is a little bit of an embarrassment to the family. That starts to be a different story, maybe.
And I get his point, but like all Dan Hooker did was just try to express himself. It's not his fault that people had a problem with it, and like his ex, of course, and posted it and quote unquote blasted him about it. Like if that's what he wants to do, I mean, why is everybody up in a fucking problem? Like, what's the problem? Like, I mean, I'm not one to, but like if Dan Hooker, if that's what he wants to do, if the family's cool with it, he ain't hurting nobody up until people want to make it a problem because like she posted something and wanted to say something about it. Like you were sleeping with him too. Like, what are we talking about here?
Well,
Like,
that was kind of by, I mean, I don't know if I articulated it as well as I might have been able to or should have in the video, but my thing was is that he really, I think the biggest fault of Dan Hooker in all of this is picking the wrong girls to fuck with. Like, you have the wife. She's apparently cool with the situation. I'm not saying anything about her personally, but I'm saying, he's got a wife already. She's cool with whatever you guys are come to an agreement about. Your the girl, the ex girlfriend is an ex stripper, so it's like you're obviously going after a certain type of woman with like this extramarital element to your relationship. You got to be a little bit more discerning. And then what ends up happening in those messages and the screenshots, whatever, he's going and trying to initiate like swingers situations as well. So it's like you're being brazen about how you're going about this stuff. Like there's nothing wrong with having that type of lifestyle, whatever. But if you want to avoid some type of thing like this, you got to be a little bit more discreet about it. He literally at one point in one of those screenshots had said, a guy was like, he recognized him. He's like, is the Hangman's on here? If you're cosplaying as the Hangman, he's going to come and find you. And he's like, no, it's me. I'm just trying to keep a low profile. It's like, bro, come on, dude. Like there's no, it was an inevitability that this was going to catch up to you in some way, shape or form. And fucking with these OF chicks, essentially, that's you're playing with fire, bro.
I just think this 59-year-old really wants to whoop his ass. And I think that's just really funny because, like, at the end of the day, all bro was trying to do was just live his life, live his best life, and in the modern age with all the means to technology, like he didn't go out and bother a straight person with his lifestyle, he didn't do anything, he didn't, he went to the right places to find the right people. He got connected with them, and just because his ex had a problem with it, and she wanted to make a joke about, kind of a mockery of it, like, look at him, ha ha ha, like he's an embarrassment, he's gay, blah blah blah, whatever you want to say, bro. Like, I mean, it's funny, like, but like, come on, like, you ain't got to try to beat the man up. Like, this is your son-in-law. Like, I
Oh
mean,
well,
again, family rivalries.
well, yeah, I'm interested now with the father-in-law aspect of this thing because like he said it at one point. He said he talked about him in his autobiography. Is this like a known figure in New Zealand, perhaps? Like, is he a former soldier or something? Like, why does he have an autobiography?
I remember he said that part too, and I thought to myself, like, who are you to have an
Yeah,
autobiography? Like, so I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. I mean, yeah, that's an interesting aspect of this thing. But I mean, again, I really think that this really is coming from the fact that Dan just picked the wrong women to have as the third because, like, she's gonna go out and do something like this. It's not the lifestyle that I would say is the problem. It's the now embarrassment of the situation that has come from it. So
No, I definitely agree. I mean, again, modern era, social media, having your whole family, out in the public image, you're a celebrity amongst, mixed martial artists kind of deal, whatever you want to say. You have millions of followers, maybe, I don't know, but a lot of people know who you are, know what your family are. So once there's a spotlight on something that's in a negative light, there's a negative connotation to it. Everybody's looped into it, and they all have this kind of stigma kind of deal. There's a narrative surrounding everybody. Like, I don't know. So it's unfortunate for the family for sure. But I think Dan Hooker, at the end of the day, what he shouldn't have done was got those tattoos like a big and messed with the wrong 59-year-old, because Jesus Christ, we need to see a picture of him. He might be fucking
yeah, for sure. I mean, the sad part is though, is that this 59-year-old man will get annihilated by Dan Hooker if
that
they were to actually fight. Unfortunately, it just he's a trained MMA fighter, brother. I don't care if he's losing his MMA fights.
that's another thing that's really funny about the video is like, big tough MMA guy, huh? This guy will I'll rough your world up, son. Boy. That's another great thing he says. But great video. Love this whole. I love this definitely fucking shit. Oh, I love. Hold on. Let's actually get this comment. I want to read this one. Hold on.
Sure. Also, yeah, while we're taking a look at the chat, did want to give a shout out to Jesse Dunway and Jake Vandenberg checking in. Appreciate both you
And
guys.
and vet, of course.
Oh
And
gosh, yeah,
listen,
of course. It's 46 Fed. Yeah, someone who is a little bit closer to that side of the world might have some insights on that.
bro, you're definitely gay. Possibly. And then for some reason you keep focusing on him and his closeted sexuality. He did hurt someone, his daughter, his family, his reputation. It's not as simple as you're making it. Guy, he had his toes painted in his last two matchups. I kind of figured something was going on with him. I mean, did I care at the time? No, I just thought it was kind of weird. And like, it is what it is. Some people do the stuff. Now that it comes out, it's like, oh yeah, well, he had his toes painted. So in my mind, it's like, well, two and two kind of made one there. You know, when Peyton Talbot had his whole thing, it's like when he comes out being a little zesty, everybody's like, oh, he's just the zesty king. And then it's like, now he's with Frank Ocean, and now everybody's like, oh, fuck, nah. Like,
Well, but I mean, Peyton Talbot has specifically come out and said that he is not gay. We saw the Matan interview, brother. So you can't be loosely attributing. But no, I mean, so to also address that comment. I mean, yeah, like we'd said that he hurt his daughter. I mean, that was really the basic kind of takeaway from all of this. But as far as the other parts of this, like if his wife was what I said in the video too, and I encourage everybody just watch, based on what we're talking about here, you'll get my full thoughts in that. So I don't want to like keep rehashing every single
true.
point. But the thing is that like, yeah, if Dan and his wife had an understanding about this and everyone was consenting to it, there is no problem there. Reputation, that really is on y'all. You know what I mean? On the public or whatever. That's your business to how you want to like interpret that, which is none of your business. They're entitled to live however they so choose. If everybody is involved in that situation and they're all having a good time with it and it works for them, then that's perfectly fine. It's things like what have happened because of it that make this an issue. It's like what we had said here. So it is as simple as that, in my opinion. I mean, like, there's really no other part beyond it. And if you bring the sexuality into it, like she has, again, something that in 2026 should not be the thing that people are making it out to be. This to me is another instance of people who have biases against homosexuals making it about that. And it's like, all right, dude, I mean, if you want to be homophobic, then that's your business, but like you're not correct for that, and you're not applying it correctly here, in my opinion.
Yeah, true. I mean, we're talking about mixed martial arts, guys. I mean, they wrestle with the same gender frequently, as if not every single day of their life, to be the best of the best. I mean, if there's not one of a handful that are not gay, I would be fucking surprised a little bit. You see it all the time with the women. I think anyway, it's crazy, but either way, this is a fun, interesting story that I'm glad a lot of people, they seem to care a lot about Dan Hooker. I don't know. It's a person, one of those stories, that just a random person has in the UFC, and it's like you would never suspect that it's somebody that you would care about. It's just a dude who's going through the midlife crisis, getting all the tattoos, kind of deal. Like he's just doing his own thing. But like, oh, now with this, like, oh shit, this is crazy. But
True.
since we did shout out a lot of other people, and we got some other ones, I know everyone. Shout out you. Who walks out of the room, Colby or Bo? I'm gonna give you a quick one. It's Colby, and then of course
it's Bo.
It's Tyler Betts. Shout out Tyler. Appreciate
yes,
you for
and I saw you earlier, Tyler. Thank you very much for the compliment on the shirt. This is one of my favorites.
Oh, true. Hell yeah. And then I didn't even shout out Jesse. I know Thinker did, but Jesse, you get an extra shout out, brother. Shout out you.
Oh, wait, another person close to that region of the world who might know a thing or two about what's going on,
Painting your nails is a part of skateboarding. I don't know why, but it is. You know what? Fair. I can attest that might be true. I didn't know the toenails was part of it. I didn't know the toenails was part of it, but I mean, if it is, sure, maybe he's a skater, brother. I didn't know Dan Hooker was also a skater.
Also, I want to be very clear about something here. The only thing that makes you gay is being gay. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there are plenty of people who do androgynous things or borderline things. That does not make them inherently gay. That's something that has always bothered me with Adesanya. Like, oh, Izzy's gay. Izzy's gay. Izzy fought in court against a girl who was trying to take him for half of his wealth, if you recall. Like, that is not necessarily something that happens to a gay man. I mean, like, if the only thing that actually that makes him gay is if he's actually doing gay things. If there are, if there is evidence for that, then that's a different story here. But like, I just don't like attributing all of those things, because you can say, I mean, where's the line? Chase, someone will say that mustache is gay.
I know.
So now you're gay now.
It's long hair. It's my long lashes. It's the mustache. It's everything about me. At a time, they will say it, and they have before, and they will again. But
I had long hair for a while,
So it's just how it goes.
That's what I'm saying. It's just, there you can, my I'm, joking, obviously, but my point is that you can pick out anything that you want. You know what I mean? Like, that's gay. That's gay. That's like, and also, why is everybody out here fucking hunting? Like, chill the fuck out. Let people just do whatever anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. So this was definitely a fun story, but we can move into some of the other ones. This one we can do a quick one on because again, you made some videos. You were quicker than the Friday stream. I don't know if you knew Thinker, but you were on top of it this week. So everybody in the chat, maybe give a round of applause. Maybe go ahead and give him
Oh,
a
come
like on his
on.
stream right now because we're gonna get into this next story that he's talked about, and he could run down some things. There's one main point that I want to get into, and I hope the chat doesn't try to ridicule us too much about it, but we're gonna get into this and we don't maybe need to watch the whole video, but you'll get the point. So Cain Velasquez was released from
Yes.
prison, after shooting, after shooting at the man accused of doing the thing to his son, and he spent some time. I don't know exactly how long it was. What was the length that he was in?
10 months he was in.
10 months. Okay, actually, long time, but not as thankfully not as long as I was thinking it was. So that's very good to hear. But
Yes, yes.
there was one main point in your video that I heard that I really wanted to talk about. You
Sure.
know, uh, this was all horrible. This is a horrible thing. There was a lot of people who are advocating for Kane to be released, and yes, released early. I agree, but the incident itself, shooting in a vehicle, into traffic at other people, that is pretty serious. That is not just something that I think you should get off for.
Eh,
That.
Yes,
Go ahead.
absolutely. Yeah, no, I know where you're going with all that. Yeah, I mean, this case has a lot of nuance that I believe that the general public is not taking into consideration, unfortunately. And so when I say that, I mean, obviously I empathize with Kane 100%, and I understand and the logic of why he did what he did tracks down the line. I mean, because people in the comments of that video that you were referencing was be like, oh, any parent would have done that. That's the instinct of any figure, parental figure. And I'm like, I get that part of it. It's the way he went about it and the fact that he didn't hit the right guy. I mean, like that's the other part you got to remember too. That's a secondary aspect of it, but more of what you said is really the thing. I mean, you're recklessly endangering the lives of everyone in that car and anyone around the area. I mean, this was out in a public location. This could have been a multi-car pileup. This could have been children walking on the side of the road that ended up affected by this. I mean, there's any number of things that could have happened because of this. This was a reckless act. I understand where it's coming from. And obviously, I feel for Kane and his family tremendously. And really, the other big point that I make in the video is that it all really spawns from the fact that Kane did not get justice in the first place. And that goes to California law. And, we don't have to go into specifics necessarily of that.
Yeah, but this is just an unfortunate case. Glad that he's out. Hopefully, great things are to come. Hopefully, he's going to be very integral at some probably that the PI or something. Who knows? He's going to be some sort of coach or mentor position. I would say that's at least the best thing that I would say for him at this point. I mean, again, when it comes to these guys, this is their life. You got to keep them around it because there's where else are they gonna fucking go? Like, what are they
Yeah,
gonna go? What are they gonna do?
he had said that he was going to be putting on some type of breathing clinic of some sort. I guess maybe he had gotten into some meditation type elements when he was behind bars, perhaps something along those lines. I want to say sounds like I think what I remember hearing. So whatever, Kane's going to be fine. I mean, he's got a great support system around. Kane is a great man. Also, is I think the one biggest point of all of this. He is a beloved figure because of what a good person he is. So he has a great support system with AKA and Javier Mendez and that team and everything. He will be okay with all of this. Like you said, he'll probably be coaching. Like things are going to be working out. That's all when it comes to Kane personally. I hope that his family can move on from this and put this whole situation behind them. But of course, I also talk about in the video that there is a lot more legal proceedings that need to happen because of this and other elements of what happened leading up to this. So
Yeah, and I'm just gonna go to this screen just because I'm gonna give a we'll give a little brief introduction here, and I don't want that one on screen. We'll move past that one. Yes, unfortunate circumstances. This is the show for the tragedy and all the other things in this sport.
sure.
So it isn't important that we talk about it. Just unfortunate, and not the greatest. Not the greatest situation or story to be harping on. So
Okay.
what I want to talk about this next story, and this is very important because if anybody out there, and Thinker, I know you don't really want to talk about this too much, but we're going to bring it up because it has something to do with the owner, the head chairman, whatever Dana White is called. this has to do with him. So I figured we would bring it up because it is kind of funny. And there was a story that came with it that there's a little video that I have to see how he says this headline. So the first thing that happened, Dana White, made this crazy boxing deal. I don't know if you know who this guy is. I've
Yes,
never, Connor Ben.
I'm glad that you brought this in. Yes, I heard about. I know who Connor Ben is. I've never seen him box before, but I am familiar with him.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if there was something I needed to listen to on here.
No, I
Yes,
just
no,
wanted to.
yeah, yeah. I am familiar with this guy, and I did hear that the deal was very substantial.
It, listen, not only was the deal substantial, I mean the deal is it's boxing, I guess. God damn, why does it keep doing that? And we'll get into that number right away, of course. 8 figures for one fight, and that's just how it goes in boxing. I guess Zuffa is going to be the powerhouse. They're going to get all the best names, the biggest deals, whatever you want to say. They're going to make sure it's a spectacle. When people come there, they get the 8 figure contract. 6 figure deals used to be the thing. Now we're an 8 figure contracts kind of deal. So interesting to note that this dude, I've never heard of him, but I'm not a boxing guy. But if you've heard of him, good for you. And what I've been told, and I don't know if you know the story, this has been somebody that has been around this guy named Eddie Hearn. Is that his
Yes,
name?
yeah, the promoter.
So Eddie Hearn has been raising this dude up through the ranks, and this has been his guy, and at one opportunity from Dana White, I'm basically getting the I'm getting the idea that this was the first opportunity that he had to jump ship where he saw the money that was like on the other side and he just said fuck it. So let's go ahead. Oh wait, do you have anything?
No, yeah, I mean that's yeah. I mean, I think that's exactly what it is. If I was a UFC fighter right now, I would be furious about this
Mhm.
personally. I mean, you said it's a 8 figures. It used to be the mid 6 or 7 or whatever. If you are an entry level UFC fighter, you're talking about the low fives at best. Very low fives, and then talking about win money and on top of that, whatever, you know what I'm saying? I mean, like, entry level contracts, terrible. I mean, I think that this is just a slap in the face to everything that Zuffa has built with MMA. I mean, like for some, especially not even the entry guys. I'm talking. I mean, like I would think that there are some higher level fighters who probably aren't making anywhere near this. For at least, you said this was for a single fight.
Yeah, yep,
I,
that's what it is.
yeah, so I mean, like, I think that this is an absolute abomination when it comes to how they treat the MMA fighters compared to this. And I also very much agree that this is Dana sticking it to Hearn and the other Hearn. It's the father son pair there. Yeah, I mean, this is very obvious what he's doing with this. Obvious congratulations to Connor Ben. I mean, he's the one making out like a bandit with this. I hope that it's a big success for him as far as the fight goes when it comes to that aspect of things. But from the MMA perspective, I think that this is absolutely a slap in the face to everything that has made Dana White who he is and the organization that he has raised.
You know what? Kind of facts. I actually think you're cooking there. What I will say is, Mank, I'm glad you know. I'm glad you know British boxing because I had no idea who this Conor Ben was. If you would have not told me he was British, I would never have even guessed. But
True.
the point that I want to make is that this Eddie Hearn guy, just from this one tagline, I have to hear how he says it just for me to understand why this dude would jump ship because I can almost understand just reading this tagline right here or this quote. So this is Eddie Hearn. He's going to react to Conor Ben signing with Dana White. And this comment right here that he makes, I text him, I said we should have a call. After everything I've done for you, who do you think you are? Like, what are you like? Let
I
me hear
mean,
him say it. Let me hear
well,
him.
okay, fair, but I mean, we also probably should know all of what he has done because I mean, he might have done a lot for him.
I mean, but who are you to throw it back in his face, though? Like,
I mean, if he's the guy who has raised you up to become a person who can get us an 8 figure deal and then you jump ship on him, I mean, I don't know.
go
No,
get other stars. You've done it for him. You raised him, and
true.
you
Yeah.
you should support him wherever he wants to go. If you're really like there for him, if you raised him all the way up to the stocks, like
But I mean, I think that he would know that Dana is. I think that he would probably know the dynamics that we just laid out. That Dana is wooing him for a very specific reason, and he's
he's
going right and playing into his hand.
he signed one fight deal. He signed one fight deal for $8 million, and this dude's fucking crying. Apparently, like, dude,
True.
I could come back. Like I
That's a
signed
good
for more.
point. Yeah. Yeah.
But
No, you're not
I mean,
wrong.
now I won't because
Right. I mean, I might not have you back.
let's see.
When I received the email from his lawyer, I texted him and said, I think we should have a call. I think for everything I've done for you, I think I deserve a call. And he said, no. Man, fuck. I can't believe it. Very painful. I don't know. Feels a little bit of a wasted few years. Pretty devastated. I've had a few days to digest what might happen. So maybe this interview's different to what it would have been a couple of days ago. It's not often you get shocked. And I blame myself. I forgot it was boxing. The loyalty that we've shown would never ever put us in this position. I made a mistake because I misjudged the character. And I backed him. When he was done, out, loaned him hundreds of thousands of pounds. You know, some people, loyalty really matters. Other people, maybe not so. There's a lot I could say. But we'll keep it classy. Maybe he's not quite the person I thought he was. I don't know. Maybe we'll talk in the future. But what can I say? He's just put a little bit more of a fucking rocket up my arse to say, okay, we'll see.
I mean, bro, come on. He's saying he gave this guy hundreds of thousands of dollars. He helped him out make his career what it is, and he can't talk to him on the phone about this. I think that maybe Eddie Hearn has a little bit of a legitimate gripe here, I would think.
I mean, I think, I mean, I get it's business, and you want to look at this person as your golden goose, but like if you're somebody that would lend me that many pounds, that many dollars, we should be on terms here. You should understand that if I get offered 8 figures for one fight, the loyalty can still be there, brother. It's one fucking fight. It's boxing.
But you
I'll
wouldn't
come
talk.
back.
You wouldn't talk though. I mean, like you couldn't say that to his face.
I can't give up the hoax. I can't tell Dana White that I'm gonna come back. Like I can't let this dude go over here and run his mouth. Clearly he's gonna cry about everything. Oh, he told me he's coming back after one fight. Then
I
Dana's
mean,
not
you have a
gonna be.
private conversation. You work those details out. I think that there's
I
a little bit of. I think that this is tracking to me a little bit here.
I think maybe it's not, because this seems like the type of dude that anytime it doesn't go his way, the first thing he does is start slandering the person. I don't know. It's just not the type of dude that I want to talk to. I
Oh,
thought this dude was loyal. I thought he was the fucking man. I loaned this dude so much money. After all I've done for him, I deserve a call. You know
are
what?
you talking
Maybe
about her? Or are you talking about Dana right now? You know that that's Dana to a
both,
T, though. Yeah.
both. That's
You
fine.
know. Okay,
Yeah,
so
but listen, he can. I don't know. I think Eddie Hearn here, if you want to be the boxing promoter, you got to have a lot of talent. You can't just have one person that's going to make you cry over it. You got to be the dude that says, all right, go
I
to
don't think that
Zuffa.
he's saying that, though. I don't think that he's saying that he doesn't have anybody else and this is going to ruin him. I think he's saying that he's a little bit hurt because this was somebody who he thought the relationship was different. I think you're being a little callous about this thing here.
No, a little bit, but I think it's just funny. People, you don't deserve anything in life, guys. I don't care how many pounds you loan somebody. I don't know how many fights you had to get them in the promotion. If he don't want to talk to you, and there's $1 million on the line somewhere else for one singular fight, I think we should be on the understanding that you should know that, and that's dumb for me not to take that. Like, you're not offering that to me, and if you're not going to, then you should understand that it's in my best interest for one singular boxing match to go to Zuffa. It's on a Thursday night randomly on Paramount, and nobody even watches it. I get $10 million. I come back. That's even a possibility if you wouldn't have just
Well,
acted like
that's
it
why
was.
I think that you have the conversation, though, is because it's like, look, I think that what could have happened here is him saying exactly what you just said and be like, look, I'm going to do this. I'll come back. I'll throw you, 25,000 just as a thank you for being cool with all of this. We go right back to business after that. You know what I mean? But if you don't talk about it, then it's just like, it really is like, you just turned your back on the homie. I mean, like,
I I think this interview just reeks of, there's a reason I didn't have a call with you, and it's probably because you haven't, you might have loaned me this and you might have done that, but treating people, human connection, not everybody gets treated the same. He might have felt some different way about it. You helped him off to a point, you got him to the gym, you got him in these matches, whatever you want to say, but like, if he doesn't feel like you've done shit for him, like, why the fuck does he have time for you? I mean,
Well,
it's,
I mean,
you
I think
can't.
that that's the implication is that he would say, I mean, like before this came about, he would say that he acknowledges how much he's done for him. And then the call comes in and he's just on the phone instantly and he's gone, it's like cut and run. after all this, like, you know, things were one way and now they're not that way anymore kind of thing. I don't know. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's possible. I don't know either of these people, but either way, I think it is funny. Speaking of boxing, though, we have to go into this next story because,
more boxing.
yes, unfortunately, more boxing, but
All right.
this one is of the fun kind because it's
Okay.
not necessarily in the boxing ring. So I don't know if you remember, but you had, and I think we both may have even done a stream of this Misfits boxing card, which had a fight between two guys who were really. It looked like they really were at each other's neck. Like at the end of the fight, you could tell there was just some heat there. And I don't know if you remember, but one of those fighters' names was Dean the Great.
Oh,
And
yes. Yes, I do.
yes, so you have watched him live. I'm pretty sure I have also watched him live. I don't know if anybody else has been watching him live lately, but we're going to get into what has been happening with him on his stream. I think it is very funny. Thinker, have you seen this first video?
You know, I am aware of these videos and so I know the basics of it, but I have not seen the clips themselves.
You have not seen the clips? Great. So we're going to get into this first one.
So
I
this
think
guy is
everybody-
Larry Wheels, right? He's a YouTuber, I think.
he is a fitness influencer.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a fitness guy. Yes, correct. Okay, cool.
So we'll go ahead and watch this.
Hey, don't be mad. Disrespect. Come on, man.
good,
Listen,
I'm
I know we streaming,
What are you
nigga.
doing with your hands, bro? This,
What are you doing with your hands?
this
you ready,
nigga,
hey, you ready for them 100 gifted? 200
this
gifted?
nigga.
Listen.
We're going Rampage.
Oh! Whoa, 200 gifted. Hey,
Holy We're not going to listen to him react to it.
Yeah,
But
sure.
as you see, Rampage eggs him on kind of deal. And obviously, Dean the Great is intoxicated. And this is all, in some way, I'm sure this is just a little scripted kind of thing to get views, of course. But did get to slap him. I agree. It probably did feel good to slap that little troll off of him kind of deal. So what would you
True.
like to say?
Well, first of all, I would like to say we didn't shout her out earlier, but Sarah Toby coming in with the 199 super sticker over here, the vibes surrounded with little purple stars. Sarah, thank you so much. Appreciate you being here. Always the greatest at all times. Really amazing. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, no, I mean, as far as this part goes, though, there you're right. I mean, I think that there's definitely it seems like Rampage is kind of like there's a setup here or whatever. I do know that I think that the precursor to this was that the Dean the Great guy had been talking shit about this Larry Wheels dude and his wife, which come on, dude, you got to know that you start talking about people's girls like that, like that's you get much worse than what happened to you here. So I think it's at least appropriate. But the thing that really made me cringe was Rampage coming in with the "You ready for the 100 gifted? You ready for the gifted subs, bro?" It's like Rampage is so fucking cringe with his streamer life now, dude. This is like I mean, like, look, I'm old in the streaming space, and this cringes me out. You know what I mean? Like, this is just not it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I've been trying to tell you, I think there's a video to be made of Rampage and his whatever you would say spiral. I don't know if you would call it downhill because I mean certainly he's probably making enough money off his gifted subs every time somebody gets a slap on their stream. But that was just the first level of what we have here because we can go into a little more. This next video, of course, courtesy from Dean the Great himself.
Yeah, he's been taking all kinds of L's, it would seem. Good Lord. Getting
And of
slapped
course,
first.
that-
And then
that's
this now.
Yeah, and
Sorry,
that's
go ahead.
part of it. Yeah, so that's part of it, of course. You know, a lot of people would call it a humiliation ritual, as they would say. You know, to go out here and just make an ass out of yourself, and of course, this is taking it to the extreme. But this one, I found this one endearing until I found the context behind this person. So we will go ahead and watch this video, and then we'll talk a little bit about this person in the video. So everybody, just enjoy this one.
Yes.
You know who I am. I don't know why you lying. You definitely know who the fuck I am. So don't act like you don't know me.
I don't know you.
You definitely know
Nice
me.
to meet you, though.
Yeah, I just don't be lying because girls around and shit. You definitely know me, bro.
Bro,
Not even on some disrespectful shit, but
I don't know you, but I don't like your attitude, and I don't like your fucking tone.
I don't like you at all, though. Yeah, straight up.
Guys,
Yeah,
Are you the guy that got slapped on video?
I did, but I'll slap the shit out you, though.
you will?
I'm going to show you the inside of the house.
I'll make you another clip. Don't do that.
Seriously?
Don't do that. All right. Come on.
This is bad.
Okay. Come on.
Wow.
Nah. Come on. Oh, do that.
Oh, they didn't even show the rest. Well, he
Yeah, I
walks
was
up
gonna
behind him,
say it.
punching him, and nothing happens. But I wanted to see. Hold on, let me just double check. Hold on.
Wow, he put his back into that elbow.
Yeah, you want to watch it one more time? Hold on. Because I almost believe that Jeff Molina walks in the background, and I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding. So
At random Jeff Molina sighting.
I think if that's the dude I'm thinking it is. Hold on, let me
Sure.
just double check. So there's that.
All right. Come on, cuz. Come on.
No, that is not Jeff.
Okay.
But it looked like him earlier.
I could see why you would think it was. That's fine.
So yeah, so that's Herb. I said Herb Dean the Great, of course. That was his week.
Good Lord. Yeah. Slapped once and then elbowed next. So the interesting part about that, aside from the elbow itself, of course, that's Tiki Gosen, who is the person who threw that elbow. And he is an interesting character in a broader perspective as well. That is the person that Sean Strickland was accusing of some pretty nasty things, if you recall.
Okay, so yes, I'm glad you brought it up. So once I started to be told that this was a play, because obviously when it comes to ex UFC fighters, former UFC fighters, sorry, it says X on there, former UFC fighters, I know a decent amount of them, right? But when I saw this guy, I'm like, that don't look like nobody I know. And then when you guys said his name, I'm like, that certainly don't sound like nobody I know. But obviously, there's a reason that you're not supposed to know this guy's name, is because you're not supposed to look into the allegations that have been held against him. And the main thing that you could take away from this is that Sean Strickland himself. This was back in August. Oh my God, this was on my birthday. That's actually crazy. Plot twist. It was on my birthday that Sean Strickland fucking accused this Tiki Gosen guy. We'll watch the end of the video. I'm not gonna. There's 4 minutes of it, but we'll just get a little bit of a taste. This is actually interesting because Sean Strickland. You know how he is, and we will get into a little bit more. He breaks character right here. Like this is the real Sean Strickland, it feels like. So we'll play a little bit of it, and I want you to just get a feel for it.
To write an article, and I drop a bomb like that.
Oh wait, hold on. Actually,
mouth shut. To the point of that, I left that post up for about 3-4 hours, and I kept googling Tiki. I kept googling his name. When is someone going to write an article about what I said? And nothing. Crickets. I can't sneeze without the MMA press writing an article. And I drop a bomb like that and nobody says anything. That is how deeply this man's connected. That is how deeply you have to shut up and toe the line. But Tiki, I will not. I talked to the girl. I talked to the girl's father. We are willing to go to court. You can sue me. We will crowdfund this whole thing, and I will give every dollar that is not fought in court back to you guys or to the victim. Anyways, that's it. That's all I got to say. Bring it on, Tiki. I'm ready for you.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is a story that to this day I have been keeping an eye on for exactly the reason that he just said there. That is actually a really good pull from this clip. So the basics of what this is about is Sean Strickland had accused that man, Tiki Gosen, ex-UFC fighter, early Ultimate Fighter contestant, who is now turned into a manager. He manages a lot of current fighters. He had accused him of essentially grooming and kind of luring an underage girl into his purview and taking it over the line with her, basically, and to keep it respectful here. And that and what Sean says there, I think, is the bigger point to me, is that like you have the media who covers, like what we were literally just talking about, the Dan Hooker stuff. Like that's a random personal situation thing. This is what he was accusing him of here is the major crime. I mean, in a person who is well connected within the MMA industry, no coverage of this whatsoever, really anywhere. So I always have remembered that was in 2024 that clip came out. To this day, I've been like, where is any kind of stuff that's going to come from that? I've been wanting updates on the lawsuit that he had referenced there. So yeah, I mean,
views, 1.5 million views, 13,000 likes.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is something that only really got exposure because of Sean. No real coverage outside of that. So it is something that is a little bit interesting to me as far as like why that might be the case. Is MMA media specifically not covering it because he's so well connected? That's obviously one version of events. Other people would say that they wouldn't cover it if there is no actual substantive proof besides Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland, not always the most reliable narrator when it comes to that type of a high level accusation. But like Sean says, he not only has the word of the potential victim in this, but also her father is involved. So, I mean, there seems to be some fire where that smoke is coming from. Where is the actual fallout from any of this? So something I'm going to continue to, always keep sort of in my purview and wait for something to come out about. But definitely an interesting case with that. And yeah, and when he showed up on that clip that you just showed with the elbowing, I was like, that's crazy that ended up happening. But you see, he is just sort of around in fighter circles still. And I think he is Rampage's manager.
And I said this, and it was kind of off the cusp. And I said, and I'm going to say it a little more clean. I actually want to give a shout out to my boy Jacob first. Jacob, Play Game, appreciate you stopping by. But I said this in the Discord. It sucks that the two most prominent managers in the UFC specifically, Ali Abdelaziz and of now this guy. So It is very unfortunate. We got to figure some shit out, and from what I hear, managing managers it's a big problem in this sport. So why the hell can somebody not get it together without being a slime ball? So what's the fucking deal? But the main thing is Sean, other than the crazy stuff that happened, Dean the Great, yada yada yada. This is Sean Strickland breaking character. I don't know if you guys got to see the sweet side of him ever, but it exists. Now we're back to the regularly scheduled program.
Listen here, you motherfuckers. I know you guys, you might want your local Mexican to win. There's nothing wrong
Why is he
with
cute?
that.
Are you catching this? Is he not?
This is not the first time he has thrown the hand up like that. No, that's somewhat of a regular thing for Sean. I'm not going to attribute that to what it looks like. I think he is literally just kind of gesturing to the crowd with that. But I certainly understand the implications of a bald man.
I mean, listen, I didn't even catch on to the bald thing, but like it was pretty the first time he did it, I was like, that's a weird way to like announce a crowd, But then he did I'm gonna not let it bother me. Let's start it over. I'm sorry. I thought that was very, very apparent.
We're being very rude to Sean right now. We're the motherfuckers who need to listen.
My bad.
Listen here, you motherfuckers. I know you guys, you might want your local Mexican to win. There's nothing wrong with that. But let me tell you, to the Lone Star State, there's only one motherfucker who stands and bangs. Your fucking guy wrestles. I fight more like a Mexican than that motherfucker. Fuck you.
Sean Strickland.
Yeah, when was that, Sean? When was the last time that was the case? A boost?
When Sean goes to war, I go to war. Again, thankfully, I'm not drafted anytime soon.
That really made me laugh in the Discord. When Sean goes to war, I go to war. Thankfully, I never have to go to war.
Yeah, so this is definitely fun from Sean Strickland. Obviously, he loves to amp the crowd up. Houston probably loved this shit.
It's like, look, I love it too. This is a misconception about because I like fighters that are sort of like more low key and just go out there and fight their hardest, that like I don't enjoy the pageantry as well. I can be hyped by this kind of stuff, but you gotta fucking back it up. I mean, like, this is his, how many times can he get away with this bullshit with this? We're going to war, and then it's the Philly shell.
Nobody stands and bangs like him. You didn't hear him?
Bro, I mean, I cannot remember. I've granted, Desert Storm, Iraq, a couple of wars I've been alive for. I've never seen the Philly shell in active combat.
True, 100%. But, okay, we had our taste of Sean Strickland, and it was good. It was fun, but he is still kind of in the headline, and it's not for what you're thinking. This one is definitely a random link-up moment, but it has something to do with Sean Strickland, and it's not going to be what you're thinking. So we're going to go ahead and dive into this. It's another quick video. Again, random link up on a podcast you dislike. So this might have to be a full episode that you might have to get into. But yeah, so just get ready.
Hunter, what were you going to say? Go ahead.
I want to say 1 week ago we were at PI and we go to extreme sparrings and these guys meet Sean Strickland.
Oh, hey.
How did you meet him?
Yeah.
We were sparring with Sean Strickland. He asked me and Baisangur. Baisangur went with him 3 rounds and he made him tired. and then he says, "Come on, you," and I went take him down and submit him. Rear naked choke.
What do you think of
Hunter? What were you gonna say?
Great clip.
Well, I mean, all right, like, okay, sure, you did do that, but I mean, like, is that like, I appreciate the honesty from him, but is that really a flex? I mean, like, you really literally just said that somebody loosened the pickle jar for you, and then you opened it, you know?
Yeah, to be fair, he didn't bring it up.
Sure, that's a good point.
Stursa
Yeah,
kind of threw him on the spot, like, that guy submitted Sean Strickland. He's like, well, it was after hard rounds, like, so I mean, decent humility from him, I would say.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, funny stuff. I mean, you just have Sursakayev and his two random teammates. One apparently is training with him, when he's training with Sean Strickland. Sursakayev is apparently training with Sean Strickland. Who knows?
No, and I guess they were saying that they were at the PI, and it was just sort of like a random encounter there with that part of it. But I was glad that they named Sursakayev because up until that point, I thought he was John Pork.
Yeah, you are hilarious, but it's okay. So the funny thing is, this is going to be a whole podcast that you should probably look into because you have Michael Bisping here, and he's just in his whole co-host mode. Apparently, like, is he on this show regularly now? Does anybody know? Like,
I don't think he's on regularly, but Bisping is big in podcasting. He's had his own podcast for quite a while. So yeah, I mean, shout out to him.
Yeah, 100%. But so, speaking of Bisping and some other former fighters, former Mexican, no, former fighters, we have more to come. I know there was a headline that you guys saw for a fighter that's going to be making his debut in a new promotion. Now, there is something that I think a lot of people did not get to realize about this. So I'm going to show you this post, and then we'll talk over the two matchups because the one but the other one I don't think you kind of knew.
Okay.
So this right here is the Gamebred FC announcements. There's two matchups coming for a 16-man tournament. You have Anthony Smith versus Chase Sherman. Oh, but what is this? Mohammed Usman is going to be in it as well. I did not know this was a thing. First off, he just popped for steroids. And second, bare knuckle Mohammed Usman, you say. He's already super passive when it comes to gloves. I would like to see him do something different, but I don't think that's possible. He probably loses. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I would say that is a very fair assessment here. First off, though, I have to say, regardless of these two specifically, Smith and Usman being in this, I'm just happy that Gamebred is coming back. I have been a very, very vocal supporter. You'll see me wearing my Gamebred shirt every once in a while on stream. I had the privilege of seeing Gamebred Bare Knuckle live. It was great. I think that Bare Knuckle MMA, much like Bare Knuckle boxing, is some of the best combat sports you're going to get. It's about as pure as you can get within, the structure of a sport still, having actual fighting happening, no barriers, no gloves, go in there. You can do anything you want, within the rule set, of course, but you do as much as you can or want to, and may the best man win. I think that this is about as pure as it gets. So I love Gamebred FC here. That being said, Mo Usman, yeah, like you had said, just popped. He just got released. That, I guess, at least tracks. It's like, oh, he wants us to keep fighting. He's in the stage of his career where fighting still makes sense for him, whatever, even if he's not that great. The one that's crazier to me is Anthony Smith. This guy retired at probably 3 fights after he should have retired, and now he's coming back to fight again in bare knuckle. Brother, what are you doing, my guy?
Getting a paycheck. Yeah, unfortunately, I've seen him lose and fall to the ground and cover up, and the ref should have stepped in plenty of times way earlier. This is bare knuckle. The ref's just going to give a 10 count and or just wave it off as soon as he starts bleeding. He has so much scar tissue. He's going to get punched in the face maybe 2 or 3 times, and his teeth are going to fall out because, as you know, they're prosthetics. And then, that's just... I don't know. It's just not good for Anthony Smith, I would say, on this. But what I will say that's a fun fact that you may not know, because this is one of the deep cuts, right? Not many people were here, and by not many, I mean literally nobody. So when I would stream, when I first started, when I was looking, for opportunities to stream mixed martial arts, I got on Twitch, and I didn't stream this to YouTube, but I streamed to Twitch only Gamebred FC. because it was live on YouTube, and it was it was one of the first streams I ever had, and it was a very fun experience. And I was also very excited for the takeoff. But then I realized they had like one event a year, and then they just never had an event again. And I was like, all right, fuck it, I guess.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I saw Game Bread 5 is the one that I think I was at, and then after that, it was just like, we never heard about it. I had at one point checked the website, and I think the website was down for a little bit too, so I didn't know
404 era.
exactly. Yeah, I didn't think that they were coming back, so I was just really glad to hear that they were coming back. Also, a lot of the local to Florida promoters are involved with that as well. So, very much a Florida-based kind of operation. So I got to give a shout out to that as well. Shout out to Island Fights. Some of the people that work on Game Bread as well. So yeah, I mean, the other note that I had about this though with Anthony Smith is that he's fighting Chase Sherman, former UFC fighter Chase Sherman, a guy who is very experienced in bare knuckle, I think both boxing and MMA. So, I mean, it could be a good fight for that reason. Chase Sherman, a little bit farther into his career as well. So maybe it'll be competitive for that. But I mean, he's been around the block when it comes to the bare knuckle dealy. Smith is a dude who I think is just another one of those guys who cannot let fighting go. You say it's for a paycheck. I think it's really more for that,
Well, what also is interesting is that this is a 16-man heavyweight tournament, Anthony Smith ain't no heavyweight, guys. On his best day, he's a light heavyweight, and that's after 40 years of mixed martial arts and him being sloppy kind of deal. At his best, he's a middleweight, kind of deal. But we'll see. Maybe I can't imagine him actually. I mean, he's gonna make the low limit, kind of deal. I can't imagine him being that big because he's not. He hasn't been away from the sport that long. He obviously is still in shape. Like maybe if he blew up and you'd be like, damn, that guy's looking really chunky, but he's a slender type guy. But either way, this will be interesting. Gamebred FC heavyweight tournament. I will definitely be watching this. April 10th actually is pretty crazy. That's coming up like very soon. The next day is when we would supposedly get Yuri and Khalil. So
fantastic. I love it. Yeah, no, absolutely. That's great. I'm hoping to catch that as well. And we'll see what happens. I mean, that's another one of the things that Game Bread did well. They were one of the earlier ones. I mean, I'm sure other promotions were that maybe I didn't know about, but I respected greatly the fact that they put their fights out for free. They were on Kick. They were on, they might've been on YouTube, but Kick specifically, I think they were doing they had to deal with. So, you'll be able to see these fights whenever they air if they're keeping the same structure that they had before.
Hell yeah. But, in fantastic news, we have another video to get into. I only know of the headline, and this is a long video, so we can stop it and we can continue going. Just let me know what you want to do with it. But I'm going to start it off, and I think this is a very important one for everybody in the community. So we have this guy. I don't know if you guys know who this is. This is, what's his name? AJ Cunningham? Something like that?
Cunningham. Yes, indeed. Of course, this is an Arkansas product, out of Bryce Mitchell territory, and in many ways very similar to Bryce Mitchell. In fact, if you want, you can start this video maybe about like halfway through, I would say. So basically, just to set this up, this is one that I brought, so I can kind of give a little bit of a setup for this. AJ Cunningham is announcing his retirement from the sport in this video. He had some unfortunate injuries that are going to be sidelining him to the point that he felt it was better to retire. So all of what we've now skipped over the first half of this video is just that. It's basically your standard, hey, I had a disc problem in my back. It's going to keep me out of fighting. I want to thank everybody who I met. Very sincere, very normal, very standard. I am leaving the sport. I'm very grateful for my time in the sport kind of video. Go ahead and play it.
Okay. You think this is about good?
Yeah, that should be about right. Yeah, sure.
But one thing's for certain, and two things are for sure. I am certainly a fighter. I've been a fighter since the day I was born. I didn't ask for it. It's just the cards I was dealt, and it's just what God wanted me to do. Another thing that's for sure is I'm going to continue to identify patterns within groups of people. No amount of shaming, no amount of finger wagging, hell, no amount of ass beatings is going to change me. You could take my fucking life. That's the only way you're going to get me to shut the fuck up. And the last thing on that is this. If you can't control what goes in your mouth, why in the fuck do you think you can control somebody like me? And why do you think I should be held to a standard? I didn't ask anyone to look up to me. I got molested by a fucking crack whore when I was 6 and beat by my fucking father till I was 7. It's like, what do you expect? You're the one that put the standards on me. I'm just trying to go through life. I'm trying to grow spiritually, mentally, emotionally, fucking financially. And you're like, well, AJ should do this. AJ should do that. No, you do it. You go do it. I'm going to be me, man, to the end. God bless you all. Take care. And I'll keep you updated on what comes next. Thank you all for the support. All my friends, family, and sponsors. I love you very much.
All right. That was a lot to unpack. One, it's not funny. It really ain't, because like what he's talking about, I mean, Jesus.
Well, right.
A
So,
lot to
okay.
unpack.
Yeah. So again, a little more context. He comes from an extreme, what he just said, it's obviously, he comes from a very traumatic upbringing, and I am very empathetic. If you know anything about this, like they would say kind of some of his story when he was in the promotion, and horrific things happened to this person as he was growing up. So I certainly empathize with that aspect of things. And, you know, the recovery from that is very tough, and living with the scars of that, very, very tough. Understandable for all of that. However, the first part is the thing that I think was the funnier thing to me than funnier. I mean, the only funny thing in there to me, because he has all of that trauma, and I like I said, I empathize greatly with it. But then he pairs it with being a horrific racist and you know, a bigot. So it's like, brother, you know, like I'm trying to support and show you the love that I think that you deserve off of overcoming the odds, and you're putting hate back out into the world. So it's like, I mean, dude, it's hard for me to like compartmentalize you when it comes to that. You know, I don't know. Am I off base with this?
There's just too much to unpack with this video. The main part that sticks out to me, because like he says, if you can't control what goes into your mouth, why do you think you can control what I say? And I'm just confused on what he even meant there. And like, do I know what he meant? Like, I'm confused here. Like, because this dude, you know, obviously at the middle of his video, he throws out the, you know, the horrific backstory stuff, and then he just continues to ramble. Like, he just continues to just be. This video was 3 minutes and 11 seconds long. All you have to do is just take your finger off the Snapchat button, brother. Like, at some point, like the video don't have to be that long. You don't have to go until you're out of breath. Like, you can just, all right, it's done. Like, you can just boop, just
No,
take it
well,
off.
yeah, I think exactly what. So, you know, if you recall, he was the same person who had the, you know, I mean, he made a lot of very charged comments about certain groups of people, and then he got some backlash from it. So that, I think, is really where that comes from. Is it's like he has that first part of the video, like I said, very standard. If you go in through and play any of that, it's literally just very nice, very cordial, very, you know, thank you for all of my time, and then he has to do that though, because he's still feeling that element of things where he got some backlash for some really like off base things, and has to double down to be like, no, not fuck me, fuck you, you know?
Yeah, no, this dude definitely crazy. I think it is absolutely atrocious, the stigma that Arkansas is going to have for centuries because of him and Bryce Mitchell. It's like, because what can you expect that they learn out there? You know, like these are the products of that region, you know, and whether they are truly, you know, geniuses, you know, the way that they portray themselves, and the ideologies that they're trying to pass on to other people, the way that they're trying to leave society after they have touched it is just wrong, in my opinion, you know?
And really what you just said hits the nail so on the head for me, and that's a big reason why I find Cunningham fascinating, is because of exactly that. It's like, dude, because of the horrendous things that he went through, you have an opportunity to be a person who could be like, you know, an example, to be saying, I never wanted to be a role model or whatever. It's like, but you could have been, you know what I mean? Like, you had the opportunity to be better than what this everything that you are now saying and what you are essentially becoming is right in line with what would be expected of that kind of all of those elements that go into you as a person. You had the opportunity to not be that. You sort of fell into the trap, unfortunately. So again, I do want to stress, I feel very bad about how his life early on went for him. I'm very happy that he was able to overcome those circumstances, but the navigation thereafter is really the sad part to me. It's like you could have been better.
Yeah, 100%. And, I think that leads right into the next topic, actually. Speaking of could have been better, I think we're going to get a taste of something that could have been better. And I don't know how long it's going to take for this to come along, but I want to specifically point out one thing before we get into this next one. Again, could have been better. There's the context. There's a new MMA film on the way, boys. Okay. And guys, we are getting into the nitty gritty. There are more films being produced as we speak for MMA on film for me and Thinker to go ahead and get these films, reviewed. And what is key here is that this is Russell Crowe. Yes, that is key. But this is also in partnership with One Championship, is what this according to this tweet. I don't know. I've seen multiple sources say something like this. So we'll go ahead and watch a little trailer and let me get and let us know what you guys think in the chat. If anybody's still there, make sure you guys know that we are still streaming. Like and subscribe, and we're gonna watch this real quick.
All right.
Here we are, top of the mountain. In this entire building, there's only two people that know you are going to win this fight tonight. There's you, and there's me.
This April.
Yeah, wow.
Everybody knows he's bigger. He's faster. He's stronger.
How about younger?
They do have the one gloves.
Yeah, this is, yeah, definitely.
Why do I need to breathe? So you can think. Why do I need to think? So you can punch him in the face. Hard work is done. Now comes the fun.
I did not actually know it was called Beast.
All right. I mean, looks cool. Again, off rip, the first thing that jumps out to me, first of all, I'm very glad that Russell Crowe is not playing the actual fighter. But the guy who is playing the fighter looks to be in a little bit of an advanced age here. So, I mean,
he's got gray fucking hair.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, he looks like he's, kind of been around the block. Maybe that's part of the story or whatever, but interesting element to it because, yeah, they're saying, younger or whatever, he's faster, he's stronger. I'm like, what about younger? I mean, like, that seems like that would be the front and center thing to mention here, but does not look bad off of a trailer, but how much can you really know from a trailer? I don't know. What do you think?
Russell Crowe, the last movie that I know he was in that shitty Mummy reboot that was like completely jacked with the audio or whatever was happening in all the trailers. And that did not pan out. I don't know if the Dark Pictures universe is still a thing, but I know Russell Crowe is clearly off doing different shit now. So he's not going to be Dr. Hyde or Jekyll, whatever that dude's fucking name is anymore. So now we're getting him as the coach, the mentor of whoever this fucking actor is. You would think it would be somebody that we would know, and or if this was One Championship, this was maybe produced for the international market kind of deal. Maybe not have just some random American, but maybe that's the point. Is like he looks like the generic American, like.
Could be that. Could also be an American actor who acts in overseas films that might be known in certain other regions. There, that's something that I don't think a lot of Americans consider is that there is a very vibrant film industry outside of the United States. But he did not look familiar to me, so I don't know if maybe he's somebody that I should be aware of, or maybe he's just somebody who I might have known but looks different now. Yeah,
Let's
what's
see
the
what the IMDb says. So
Sure, yes.
let's read the synopsis real quick. A fisherman who once caught, or who once fought, I'm sorry, let me start over. Once caught, that's not right. A fisherman who once fought for a living agrees to one final return. Okay, so he's at the end of his career, so I
Mhm.
guess the age is adding up.
Got yep.
In one championship after his brother's death, forcing him to confront whether violence can ever set a family free.
Okay.
Interesting. Who is that main guy? Who's the cast? Daniel McPherson. I would assume this is him. Let's see what he's been in, just to double check real
Oh,
quick,
is
everybody.
it the Hemsworth? It might be. Oh no, that is him. Yeah, I guess that it would be. I just saw that one of the Hemsworth brothers is in there. The lesser Hemsworth. Yeah, there are three of them.
Yeah. Known for four things.
Foundation. That sounds familiar.
Hmm.
Um.
Oh wait, no,
Okay.
I'm sorry. Here we go. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was like, mm.
Wrinkle in Time. Yeah, not a super huge resume. Uh. Okay. I mean, look, I don't mind that it's an unknown actor. I mean, I think that maybe makes it so that you can be a little bit more connected to the character. You're not seeing an actor, you're seeing a character, perhaps.
If you
Um,
want to call it an artistic choice that they couldn't hire a big name player for the movie, sure, but
I mean, yeah, well, whatever. I mean, like, I understand what you're saying with that.
yeah.
Either way, like, I mean, it's cool that one's doing this. I mean, I think that that's a really cool thing that one is taking this leap. We had heard, I recall, we did a stream a while back about the UFC being involved with a film with Zack Snyder. So
Yes.
maybe this is in relation to that. You're doing a film, we want to also do a film kind of thing. Either way, I mean, first of all, of course, we're going to be reviewing this film when it comes out. So, that's a must. Second of all, MMA on film is never going to end. So, guys, you got to support what me and Chase are doing here because we put a lot of time and effort into these film reviews, and we've got a lot more of them to do. So, get those views up.
And this one is actually going to be even more fun because we have a blood sport that is coming out, of course, and then
Yes.
we have definitely allotted that we are going to talk about the Carpenter movie, which is Jesus Christ coming to corner a fighter, which we got to get to. But since this one is coming out so early, we didn't know this was coming out April of 2026. It actually did not say 2026, so let's calm down.
April 2027.
But point is when this movie comes out, we will go to the earliest showtimes that is applicable. We will go record our live stream for the review of these movies the day that it comes out, if possible. And it last time that it did for the Smashing Machine, it was possible. So if you were there, make sure you like that stream one more time. And if you weren't, make sure you go back and like that stream again. So the point is, when Beast comes out, I'm very excited to see just how bad it's getting for Russell Crowe because I know he's making a shitload of money. He's already done his work. I get paid because my name is on the shit now. All I have to do is just stand around with my hands in my pocket and say, come on, kid, you got to get up. Shit like that, very easy for him to do. But will the movie be good? I don't know. Did Mr. Chatri approve it? I have to know.
I gotta assume that there was some oversight from the organization. But you're right. I mean, this basically what I'm seeing out of this, and again, what can you really tell from a trailer? It's going to be very surface level. We really don't have any of the finer details, but it does seem a little. Especially also considering the synopsis that you just read on IMDb, seems slightly cookie cutter, but look, a good MMA film does not necessarily need to be overly complicated. Like it can be as good of a film as it hopefully it has the potential to be with a simple story. So, we'll have to see.
I think that's actually a good point you make is like, well, the story might be rather simple, simplistic, basic, whatever you want to say. That's a good point that we're at for MMA on film is because we don't need the movies that finally make the drawing board or whatever for a certain niche genre. They have to have some crazy storyline to get the people hooked. They have to have something going on that makes you realize like, oh, that's actually cool. When it comes to MMA, if we have basic, slimmed down movies that are just so bland that nobody really cares about, that means there's an influx of them. We're just getting random shit shoved down our face. That means MMA is taking off on the scale that is beyond the consumer. They're just on their way. So I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, no, well, to that point, we've got this, we've got the UFC movie potentially at some point in the future. We also have Street Fighter coming out as well. So I mean, we've got a lot as far as MMA and MMA adjacent films that are being made nowadays. So we're really in the best time when it comes for all of that. So we've got a lot in the back catalog that we're going to be reviewing. We're going to be doing some of this newer stuff. So again, if you guys are interested in MMA related media, MMA on film is where you got to check in with us and get our opinions about it.
Well, speaking of opinions, I think this one is going to be more of your opinion because this is not really anything that I have too much to say on because I wasn't here for when this person was around. So I hope that you can give me insight of what it was like when they were, and then of course going forward what their next moves are because this is interesting. Not necessarily for me, but we have the Zabit Magomed Sharapov, whatever this guy's name is, the once upon a time, the what if of the UFC that everybody talks about of the bantamweight division, right? Either way.
Yeah, I think so. Either that or Feather. But either way, yeah. So Zabit Magomed Sharipov was an interesting fighter, I would say. I think that his what if storyline is a little bit overblown. The way that people kind of have this like mythical status put on him, he certainly was unique. Definitely, an interesting grappler. Movement was very, kind of like again, unique is how I would describe it in a good way. But the big thing with him is that why he is a what if is because he left the sport of his own volition. He basically just said, I kind of want to step away from the sport. At one point, he had said that he was going to be training to be a doctor. Like he just sort of had his time in the sport, walked away from it, went on with his life, and that was supposedly going to be it. Now we come to find out that he is signed with this organization specifically for BJJ. So I say, what has changed here, pal? Like I mean, like, granted, he doesn't need to care about what the fans think. It's not his job to appease the audience by coming back or staying in the sport if he doesn't want to be in it. But if you were going to go back to active combat sports competition, do you just not want to get punched in the face? Is that what this is signaling to me? Because why do you go away for so long and come back and then it's BJJ?
Sometimes people just get tired of what once they feel like they've reached a certain level of the sport. I said this about Helena, when it comes to grappling, it's like once you get to a certain level, you've been doing it for so long. I mean, sometimes your first love just ain't it for you anymore. You could keep up from the sideline, but moving on to other things is okay. Maybe he was very creative in the striking. Maybe he's at the point in his career, he's like, man, I can be a really good BJJ practitioner. I could bring some sort of creativeness to that game, and I don't necessarily have to risk my brain injury because I wanted to be a doctor. I understand the health concerns, whatever you want to say. I think this is a decent move, just because why not? I mean, it actually might get me to watch some BJJ. Now that I understand that tuning into the BJJ events for the UFC, of course, will get you good streaming numbers. If I go in here for Zabit, I'll watch some AC BJJ and I won't love it, but if he's on there at some point and you guys show up to watch it with me, we will definitely be ready for it.
Sure. I mean, to that point, CJI 3 is in the works apparently, and I guarantee you I'll be watching that both days. So,
nice.
Keep an eye out for that for the
Think
BJJ
they'll have 2
fan.
days again?
Yeah. I mean, I think I think it's always a 2-day event now. Well, that was one of the questions. Actually, it's funny that you mentioned that because that was one.
3 days now. CJI 3.
I see. 3 days. Got you. Yeah. Well, I don't know how they would stretch it over 3 days, but if Craig Jones wants to do it, Craig Jones can do no wrong
Well,
when it
then you
comes
have
to
to do
this.
4 next, of course. CJI 4.
Get to 10, and it's just it's a festival now. It's a BJJ for years on end.
You don't have to stop at 10. I mean, you can do this for the entirety of the year. I mean, and then after that, you would square it, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, however, I mean, either way, the question was, is it going to be the same format and all of that stuff again? And, because that was kind of the interesting part about the CJI in general is that it had one format for 1 year. They changed it up for the second year. What's the third year going to look like? We'll see about all of those details or whatever. But that's really the only BJJ that has been of grand excitement, because I'm glad that the numbers were good streaming wise for you for UFC BJJ. The excitement level was certainly not.
Well, I actually forgot to bring this one up earlier. We talked about AJ Cunningham retiring, but as of course we have somebody else who retired or announced their retirement, so we would get into this one. Michael Chiesa announced that in UFC Seattle against Carlson Harris will be his final fight of his career, March 28th. So at the end of March, Michael Chiesa is finally hanging it up and going to the booth. Now, I have necessarily been saying this about every fighter who comes in here with gray hair and a gray beard. You should probably call it a quits. It's just not good optically, and the jet black style is not worth it. But Michael Chiesa actually, truly hasn't looked horrible in his last performances. Obviously, you have to gauge that it is an older fighter. You can't say, when you're watching prospects, you're always watching like, how would this match up against the current champ? What could they do against Islam, Ilya, yada yada yada. Michael Chiesa, you're not comparing him to that. You compare him to the middle of the road guys, and he's definitely still able to get a submission win, to get a Darce choke,
Right.
to last 2 rounds, whatever you want to say. So shout out to him, illustrious career. Get back at the desk. You're not one of the analysts I hate. So get back there.
I mean, I think that you're pretty much nailed it. The only thing I was going to say is that, you talk about the gray and the beard. What if he did the Just for Men comb in color thing that's not the jet black, but, something like a light brown? Do you think that optically would track?
But if it starts dripping though, that's what
True.
I'm worried about, sweating. And then if they do the Vaseline on him and then the refs like, what the fuck? Like,
No, it has to be a good permanent dye job for sure. Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. No, I mean, Chiesa, I've always liked Michael Chiesa. I really don't have too much of a problem with him as an analyst. As a fighter, you pretty much nailed it. I mean, kind of a middle of the road guy with, a pretty slick BJJ at times, a decent wrestler and stuff. Nothing but future success to Chiesa. I mean, go and what I really like, I mean, I guess what I would say as a bigger point is that I just think it's nice, and I don't know how they decide it, but like it almost feels like certain fighters get like anointed with the coveted position of being on the desk. You know what I mean? Bisping got it. Obviously, DC got it. Like certain ones make a little bit more sense. These are former champions that we're talking about with the two of them. But like Chiesa, I remember that Angela Hill at one point was on the desk. It's like she's not back as much anymore. Karate Hottie every once in a while will be on the desk. Maybe they get a little bit of a different circumstance because they're women. I don't know. My point is, it's just like I don't know what the decision-making process is like. It's like you are, crowned, that you get knighted to be a desk position,
Yeah, no, I definitely get it. But Michael Chiesa, again, not somebody that I dislike to hear on the commentator booth. So I'm rooting for it. Hopefully he gets a win on his way out. But not everybody's Robbie Lawler, and not everybody gets Nico Price. So
True.
that's just what I'll say. But
Very true.
I'll give a good shout out real quick to the chat.
Yes.
We have well, of course, Cyrus the Great. Don't know what that was about. Kyle Griffin, though, Brahimaj and Serrano. I'll give you a quick pick. I'm pretty sure Serrano's gonna Serrano. Soriano. I
yeah.
read that wrong. Soriano's going to win by decision, I think, is hopefully what I said on the stream. But if we're going Brahimaj, I don't think he's going to get another submission in a row. Anyway, it's another story for another day.
Well, and also,
quick pick. Go ahead.
No, well, I just wanted to say, I mean, I was going for Brahimaj, not necessarily by submission, probably by decision, perhaps. But what I wanted to say is that Kyle and anyone else who's not aware, we do a podcast on Monday nights where we go over all of our picks in depth and detail, and also go over all of the fights from the previous week. It's called Last Week's Fights. You can find it right here on youtube.com/@Yema Show, and on Chase's stream, youtube.com/@CP Smalls, where I think you guys are checking in on.
Hell yeah. And then Jacob, of course, appreciate you for being back. But yeah, so speaking of being back, and speaking of, the people that are formerly UFC and, whatever the case may be, here's the bridge. Ronda Rousey's coming back against Gina Carano. Whoever this is, we're about to see a 5-round featherweight MMA bout. And it specifically says that this is the first MMA event from the MVP Promotions, which is Jake Paul's promotion or whatever, right?
Right.
I also believe this is not only the first event for them to headline an MMA bout, but this is the first Netflix MMA bout, correct? I don't think I've seen Netflix have MMA yet.
Correct. Yes, this is Netflix's first foray into MMA. It is most valuable productions first foray into MMA as well. And it is. I know that you are newer. You're a younger dude. You're newer to the sport. This is a big matchup for this. I mean, these are two legends of women's MMA, and that's why I think this is very interesting. I'm very surprised by how much press and attention this fight is getting obviously Ronda Rousey, very well-known name in the sport. Gina Carano, probably before a lot of newer fans' time. But just the fact, I guess, that Ronda's coming back, maybe that's where some of this is coming from. Either way, there's a lot of conversation going on around this fight. So interesting for a number of reasons.
It's going to be big, and I'm definitely going to watch it. But the thing that I've been hearing about this, Ronda Rousey, everybody knows who she is, rightfully, to good reason. People have been telling me Gina Carano she was the first female superstar.
Yes.
And in my opinion, I'm like, that's incorrect. Ronda Rousey was the first female superstar, guys. I don't know how you're missing this point. She is the first person that actually made people watch mixed martial arts as a woman, I would say. Globally, she made everybody know that Ronda Rousey is going to armbar somebody in the first round. And everybody tuned in for that.
Right. See, that's the thing, though, is that Gina Carano was Ronda Rousey before Ronda Rousey was Ronda Rousey, basically. Like that, Gina Carano, this is a reason why when people have asked, like, what do you think is going to happen in this fight? I'm like, Ronda Rousey is going to mop the floor with Gina Carano because, you have Gina, who came from an era before. Gina was in, like, Elite XC era. We're talking pre-UFC stuff. So that's why, like, I'm saying, like Gina was Ronda before Ronda because there were like no she was struggling to find women to fight her back in that at that point. So like she got a name for herself before Ronda would have been able to get a name for herself because no women were able to get a name for themselves back then. I mean, it was the earlier stages of where mixed martial arts even was going to be. So she paved the way for Ronda to be able to become what Ronda would become. But that being said, she comes from such a far back. She hasn't gotten a win since 2008 or something like that. Some ridiculous far back era here. I mean, like, there was a graphic that someone had posted of like the ages of all of like the fighters that were like, some known fighters that you may know, like where they were in their lives. Like when she got her last win, like they were like 16 and 17 years old, these are like established fighters now.
But no, this is definitely going to be interesting. I'm very excited to watch this one because I'll root for a Ronda Rousey comeback. I mean, she's not going to most likely, but she's going to have an MMA bout on Netflix. I'm going to tune in. I'm going to tell everybody that I know that Ronda Rousey is having a bout on Netflix. And that's just, that's just how it's going to go. I mean, Ronda Rousey she's not necessarily the funnest personality and she's not necessarily like the coolest girl on the block, but like for the time that it was, she was the most dominant woman in the sport. And as of 10 years out, she potentially still could just judo flip this girl right into an armbar and it is over in the first round. And I gotta see if that's possible because it shouldn't be that hard. This is an Olympic silver medalist or something in Ronda. I don't know what the hell she got, but
I think she was a gold medalist. I want to say in judo. Am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong.
I think Kayla got gold, and I think that's why she's able to.
Could be. Yeah, that does sound about right. No, yeah, I think that is very, very likely to be what's going to happen here. What you just outlined, but we shall see what happens in the actual fight. Shout out to the GOAT Jeremy Hall, by the way, saying curious to see who will be on this card. Yeah, that's another thing. So we talked a little bit about it, but not only these two women legends of yesteryear, which as far as the actual fight itself goes, I think it's almost like secondary in a lot of ways. I hate to say it like that because, they are names and that's important. But like, I chalk this up to like anybody who is excited about Mike Tyson fighting Floyd Mayweather. It's like, are you really excited about it? Like you're excited? What, like, what's it? You're thinking about these people back when they were in their heydays, but put that to the side. What I find very fascinating about this is the fact that it is Jake Paul's promotion. Jake Paul, who has been doing the boxing thing for a while and has had some decent success with. I'm talking about specifically promotion of the boxing, not him himself doing the boxing. What's up?
It's not specifically just that he's been doing the promotion of the boxing. It is that he has been putting women combat athletes at the forefront of these promotions. He had the co-main event against Mike Tyson that was Serrano and Elizabeth Taylor, and that was one of the most memorable fights that anybody has ever seen because in the makeup of the Tyson and Paul fight, everybody was watching that and everybody wanted another fight out of it. And then of course they got to headline their own card after that. What Jake Paul's doing for the female athlete, boxer specifically, and now mixed martial artist, I think it shows that it's not just like him making a shitload of money because he's pretty selfish. Like he actually does kind of care about the sport and like where it could go. And if he finds certain talent and if he puts certain money some places, like, listen, like I said, I'm going to tell a bunch of people that Ronda Rousey is coming back. I even said it I was at work and I'm like, hey, do you know who Ronda Rousey is? And they're like, oh yeah. It's like people still know who this
Of
bitch
course, absolutely. Yeah, Katie Taylor, by the way. Elizabeth
is.
Taylor
Oh,
is
I'm
a
sorry.
was a classic film actress, so that's just made me laugh. But no, yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, I think that's Jake Paul is an interesting character in all of this in general because you're right. I mean, like he's a lot of times when it comes to the actual sports themselves, combat sports, he has some pretty good takes sometimes. I mean, like, he's one that's advocating for better fighter pay for the fighters when it comes to certain things. He certainly fleeced PFL for a good amount of money. That's a little side note there. But yeah, no, when it comes to boxing, you're right. I mean, putting Amanda Serrano, I'd say that he is instrumental in people knowing who Amanda Serrano is at this point. So definitely good value there. Getting into the MMA space, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. I will say that the production value for the boxing events on Netflix with most valuable promotions were very high. So if we're going to get that with MMA, that could be something nice about this. The undercard is going to be very interesting. Like Jeremy had said, who else is going to be on this card? We're going to have to see. I mean, you're going to have to now have fighters who are not under contract to the UFC or another organization who's going to make it exclusive. So that's an element of all of this as well. Yeah, there's just a lot of factors to how all this is going to play out that I think is kind of fascinating, and it'll be a good benchmark to see if most valuable promotions wants to do more in MMA and how that plays into the space. So I have high hopes for this card. Amazingly, I mean, you might not think that off rip that would be something that I feel about this, but I really like. I think that I am always of the mindset that competition in the space breeds excellence. If you are locked into the options that you have, they don't have any incentive for them to get better. UFC has a $7.7 billion deal with Paramount now. Like, they're obviously trying to make that worth their while, but like the incentive to be better or to improve and iterate and get the sport advanced farther than that has to come from people trying to take the crown, essentially, or at least try to get as close to it as they can. So this, Jake Paul, obviously very wealthy off of the stuff that he has done in the sport, has the resources within the promotion to do good things. This could be something interesting to shake things up. I like it. I think it's good for the sport.
I know we did not get to see the PFL debut of MMA Jake Paul, but now that the MVP promotions is going into MMA, do you think Jake Paul is going to headline a mixed martial arts bout? Potentially, here's an idea, Dylan Dennis. I mean,
well, Dylan Dennis apparently is might be on the CJI. Actually, I believe he might be going up against somebody on the CJI. But who knows? I probably not. I'd say that my gut would say he's probably not going to go up against Dylan Dennis. If he's going to do MMA, he's probably going to get the most canniest cans on the planet to
it's
just
going to
beat
be a
up
former fighter, though. You know that.
True. Yes, he's got to have somebody who maybe Tony.
Okay.
Get
Nice.
Tony in MMA. How crazy would that be? Nah, I mean, could it have look, there's crazy things that happen all the time with all of this. So yeah, is it impossible? No, I'd say it's a little unlikely without a lot more drilling for him to be a lot more confident that he'd be able to get the win. But who knows? We'll see. One other last note that I did have on this that I wanted to mention because I found it very interesting too was UFC has been doing a slight little bit of co-promotion for this, which, the UFC, they are extremely self-segregating. They don't like to cross over. The only time that there has ever been any crossover was the Maymac fight.
Bud Light, Ram Trucks.
No, that's sponsorship. I'm talking about promotion to promotion, cross promotion. That was between money for Mayweather's promotion and the UFC. Like, they don't cross promote with other organizations ever. It's like very strict with that, the UFC. This fight taking place outside of the UFC, there have been a number of tweets and a number of posts being made on the UFC's accounts about Ronda Rousey coming back. I don't know why that is. I mean, I guess maybe just, a little bit of support for everything she's done for them. They left on good terms, maybe. I don't know. But whatever the reasoning is, it's just interesting to see them doing any kind of talking about it at all, because Ronda has said, she's like, me and Gina are going to do better numbers than the UFC when it comes to this card. We will see. It is on a Saturday. So I don't know. It's going to be an interesting thing. Are we going to watch this live and then do a replay watch of the UFC? I mean, that would be kind of nuts, but it might have to happen. Who knows?
I hate to break it to you, and I don't know if you know this or not, but they normally are very on top of what weekends the UFC do not have
I,
cards.
I was thinking the same thing, and I very much am hoping that that's the case because I really would like to not have to figure out how the watching would happen for both of these. But if that is the case, I think that would be the best case scenario. The UFC has actively said that they are scaling back the number of events per year, not by a crazy amount, but by more than it was before. This is a perfect time for it. Like, let this happen.
Hell yeah. And let me get to the chat real quick because
Sure.
one, I want to get to Jeremy. Chase, how was One Championship this morning? Planning on watching it later. It was good up until I started having fucking internet issues again, but we won't talk about that too much because we had a great stream today, guys. Obviously, no internet problems yet. George versus Jake, I actually think that is listen, when you think of people like you have Tony, you have Nate Diaz, George probably offers the least amount of threat from the ground game because once it gets to the ground, like Jacob box, obviously, but once it gets to the ground, I mean, an old man can still do jujitsu. It doesn't have to be the athleticism game at that point. So Jake has to, pick the opponent very wisely. I think if he picked Nate, obviously the BJJ is going to destroy him. Tony potentially still could pull out some BJJ stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Tony was a little bit of a stretch, I think.
Well, but either way, I think that's still viable. But either way, and then Jorge, of course, no ground game probably at this point. What is he doing? Other game eating bread, kind of deal.
For sure. You saw fucking Masvidal versus Nate Diaz. I mean, come on, dude. They could not even throw punches anymore. So I mean, or not with the power anyway.
And then check in Chicken McDuggets. This comment is hilarious. I thought this was for the White House. Jesus fucking Christ, man.
Perhaps the UFC did too. Maybe that's why they were promoting it that way. Somebody had to go and tap the social media guy on the shoulder, say, "Hey, we're not doing this one."
And James, yes, this actually is for the White House. Jake Paul was able to secure it one weekend before Donald Trump's birthday. That's how much power he has these days. He went to the inauguration and he was like, "Oh yeah, fuck, you're gonna get in here before the UFC, dude. Fuck yeah."
True, and also shout out to James for he had said that I guess Ronda won bronze at the Olympics.
Yes, so. Nice. Yes. Yeah. Kayla's got a gold. I know that, guys.
You goddamn right she does. Might continue to have gold if her neck heals up properly.
True, but I think this was, if not one of the better stories to talk about, or at least to end with. But we definitely had a lot of fun with the other stories. But this would be the last one that I had to bring up. So, is there any other ones out there that anybody?
Well, you got to announce that for the people, man. You got to announce it before we do the last story, so they know to throw things in there.
Well, I figured, my bad.
No,
I didn't think we were going to have
too
many people jumping in on this one. We were waiting for a second to see if we had a little bit of an audience, but they did jump in here at the end. So I appreciate everybody who was here. But hopefully you guys, you know what? I got one more. This one I really wasn't even going to bring up because it's not really anything, but we will bring it up. So chat, get ready, get your links. Go ahead.
I was just going to say the same thing. So this is if this is the last story that we got at the end of the show, that is your time to shine, chat. If you've got other stories that we did not cover, or if you'd like to talk about any of the stories that we did cover in more detail, please, by all means, get your comments and your links in the chat, and we will go over those after this.
This one I really wasn't going to bring up because it's not even a story, because this is just something that happens every so often. Conor McGregor has tweeted, "I have been offered an opponent and a date, and I accept, waiting on a contract." So here's Conor McGregor, guys. Everybody get ready for the Max return. Once again, here we are.
How many times has the Mac almost returned at this point? Do we have a count on this? Are we in the 15-time range at this point, you think? Yeah. I remember, I feel like the last time he fought was 2 jobs ago, and 1 job ago I was talking about him fighting Michael Chandler, and then his toe was a balloon.
Well, I would like you to know that the tweet has since been deleted. So.
Yes, well, see, that's something that people need to realize with Conor in general. He deletes his tweets intentionally and regularly, and he has talked about that. So, like, because I saw that too, where they're like, "Oh, the tweet got deleted." He always does that, and he himself has said he's like, "I tweet things and then I take it down. If you saw it, you got it. If you didn't get it, then you didn't need to get it." You know what I mean? Like, he's kind of has like an attitude of like, people. I don't need to leave things up. People will see what like. I'm that guy, which I give him. Look, he is that guy when it comes to that part of things. People, the fact that we're even talking about him right now is a credit to the star power that he continues to have, having not fought for a million. He has not fought one time since Yama has existed. People, think about that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, we had to talk about Ronda, so we're gonna talk about the other biggest star of the century. You know, we have Conor McGregor here, once again talking about a fight coming up. Will it be true? Will it be not? I mean, we have yet to see kind of recent photos and videos of him, I believe. So who knows what he's looking like? You know, could be getting in shape, could be actually locking in. Who really is to tell? Because Conor McGregor, up until I mean, the Michael Chandler thing, of course, but then up until after he pulled out of then, he was not really gonna come back again. He's like the White House is calling him like the fucking the line of cocaine. So
Yes. No. Well, I mean, and that's chicken McDuggets over here. This one's got to be for the White House. Of course it is. I mean, there's no way it's not. So that's
oh, you
actually
think it's
why.
real?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Conor McGregor is going to be on the White House card. Like I think that is 1,000% happening. Like I'll say it like this: if he is not on the White House card, I would be insanely shocked because I mean the White House card, beyond the fact that we know that it's going to be a small card, it's an abbreviated card, it's only 6 or 7 fights. It is the broadcasting of mixed martial arts to essentially the entire country and by extension the world beyond anything that the UFC has ever been able to accomplish on its own in a good way. I mean, in the fact that this is beyond a national stage. This is an international stage with national implications, so to speak, or national amplification, I should say. So Conor being the name, you said yourself, you talk to people at work. Do you know Ronda? Guarantee you say the same thing about Conor. Everybody is going to say yes. I mean, he's the only person in the sport to this day that you could say that about. So yeah, I think it has to be.
Okay, so hear me out. At the White House, I would like to see Conor McGregor at 170 pounds against Carlos Prates. There it goes, guys.
Oh, good
Everybody hear me
Lord.
out.
You just want Conor to just die on national television.
I mean, if he's going to come back, he's going to come back for something good. And if Carlos Prates can be on the White House for any good reason, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Fair enough. Well, we shall see. I mean, like I said, I'd be very surprised if he's not. But looking for, that's the broader point of all of it when it comes to the White House. We did also get a tweet or some kind of notification that Dana is claiming that the White House card is done. I mean, he said, or at least was going to be done the weekend before, whenever that tweet came out. So theoretically, by this point now, the White House card should be locked in, or at least getting close to locked in. So any day now, it seems like we might be getting White House news. I don't know. We've talked about it plenty of times on this show. It's not really worth speculating on too much of what we think. But if what you brought up at the beginning of the stream is true, with the Yuri and Chimaev fight potentially happening, then Alex, I would think that that's a slam dunk. I think that that's a foregone conclusion. He would be on the White House card.
I totally could see Dana as a stick it to Tom Aspinall, give Surreal Gone and Alex Pereira the White House card.
For the
I could
interim?
totally
Oh
see.
my God.
I could totally see it because Dana's like, okay, well, you don't want to fight, you don't have surgery, that's fine. The biggest opportunity that the sport is ever going to have, you're the champion. Yeah, we're just going to give an interim belt to somebody. It's Alex Pereira. Who gives a fuck if he gets that interim belt?
Dana would literally be in the press conference being like, hey guys, I mean, look, his eyes are messed up. That's his choice to have surgery. I mean, I can't tell him
He
not
chose
to have
to sit out.
This is his, he's making his choice. He's making his bet. He's got a lie in it. Now we've got two guys who are hungry. That guy Cyril Gahn was looking pretty good in that first round.
Yeah, absolutely. And let me shout out the chat just
Of
another time.
course.
Shane Armstrong, he's released videos of what he looks like. Prove it, post them in the chat. And
Sure.
then Nav want to now Connor and Aldo 2 for fucking White House. I love it. Absolutely. Rebook it right now.
Bringing Aldo out of the secondary retirement home that he has put himself into at this point to go back against Conor. Although, I mean, really, on a serious note with that, Aldo has always maintained that the knockout was a fluke. I mean, he will say that. That's, I mean, obviously it was very quick, whatever, but is it a fluke? He knocked him out. What, I mean, like it was off of the positioning and all that. He was the one who was saying, that like, I need to get back on that. So crazier things, maybe. I mean, it seems a little bit of a stretch.
See, so here's the problem. So Chicken McNuggets. Masvidal is Trump's favorite fighter because I know that's untrue. Because one, Trump's favorite fighter is Derek Lewis, and if it's not Derek Lewis, it's Dustin Jacoby, and if it's not Dustin Jacoby, who's the other losers that these dudes fucking love?
Colby Covington.
Sugar Sean might end up on Trump's favorites list. I don't know, somehow, some way. But Trump, he's gonna have who he's got on there. Derek Lewis is, listen, that'll be the first fight. If we have 6 fights, it'll start with Derek Lewis. The next fight up, we'll have Colby and fucking Bo Nickel. Bo Nickel's gonna be on it. It's got to be Bo Nickel. He's got to be on that fucking card. But
I mean, look, if we're because this is the big question about the White House card in general, though, is how much of it is going to be patriotic, I love America, I love Trump guys, and how much of it is going to be champion fights, a title contention, changing of that kind of stuff. Like, where does that intersect? Because you can only have so much with that. You can't have every one of the patriotic guys fighting for belts because that doesn't make sense for some of those guys, most of those guys, I would say. You know?
I would say, as a fan, and I'm not even that patriotic, but as a fan of the sport, I think it is a disservice not to at least have Matt Frivola there to be like, here's somebody who was in the service. We'll do our little service anthem. We'll fly the jets over. Maybe even Matt Frivola can do it. Like, he can call the jets on. All right, bring them on, boys. Whatever you want to say, but like, at least acknowledge, Matt Frivola is there. If he's not going to be on the card, at least have him there, like, because he did serve,
There you go. I mean, yeah, that's that. Hopefully, there is some type of thing like that. That actually would be a really nice way to honor some of the guys who are not going to be actually fighting. Because what I was going to say to that is, who makes the administration look good? That at the end of the day is really what at least this current administration cares about the most. Is the the perception of everything. So, it would be very nice of them to honor some of the fighters who have combat or, who have a service experience. But as far as the actual fights go, there are, pretty much like they're kind of backing themselves into a little bit of a corner because of the prestige elements of things. And then pairing it with, the rah rah America crowd, like you're going to have to see where that all kind of shakes out. So, we got a lot of questions that are hopefully going to be answered, sooner than later. I mean, we only got a couple months until the damn thing is supposed to happen. So, like I said, it seems like any day we could get something here.
True. And shout out to Check and McDuggets again. Frivola would deliver. Yes, he would definitely go for a finish. He would definitely either get finished or get a finish on the White House card. But the unfortunate thing is he's already fought BSD, which if you guys actually rewatch that fight, I mean, it was a head kick clean. And there's no point for there ever to be a rematch. But I did like the idea that was the United States representative of the armed services, and then you had the French version of the armed services, and then they had a matchup. Like, that was really cool to see. Something like that for the White House would be really, really fun. But again, it's Matt Frivola. I would just like to see him, give him a salute, have him just be on the sideline or do something if he's not going to be in the cage.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that would be very appropriate. And considering that there's not going to be that many people in attendance, period, like a lot of, I guarantee you we're going to get a lot of celebrities. We're going to get a lot of,
Kid Rock.
Oh, well, I mean, that's a foregone conclusion. Kid Rock, Tucker Carlson, the usual suspects will all be there, of course. But, it's going to be a lot of like, your Nicki Minaj will probably be there, whatever. Like that kind of person is that a couple of those will definitely be there. But like, it would be nice for them to honor the actual fighters as well.
I have a question, and I'm not trying to start an uproar, and I'm not trying to get too political, and I'm not trying to get into the background and the nitty gritty, but just a quick off the cusp. Do you believe that Erica Kirk will be in attendance?
It wouldn't surprise me. Sure. Yeah. Why not? I mean, I don't see any reason why I know that she's somewhat of a controversial figure within that whole sphere. I don't know too much about exactly why that is, but I know the name obviously, and she's prominent on the conservative side. So yeah, she fits right into the mold,
Well, but by me asking that, I'm also asking is like, do you think there's going to be some sort of, she gets her own little moment kind of deal? Because that's
like a Charlie memorial thing.
Kind of deal.
I mean, I like maybe they do some of that kind of stuff, knowing how things sort of are right now. But like, I think it would be very out of place if they did that. Like, I mean,
would it though?
Well, I mean, the dude had an entire arena show for, like a memorial already. I mean, like, I think that this would be better to just have being fight centric and, rah, rah, America. I think it's like, this is an America 250 event. We're supposed to be celebrating the country. I think it would be a little, out of place. But
to some people, that is like the greatest representation of America.
Sure. Yeah, I get that part of it. Like I said, I don't think that it's an impossibility that happens. But I mean, God, how long again, look, I'm very sympathetic to what happened. Of course, I covered it on the channel. I think it was a great tragedy and all of that. But I mean, like, how long? How long are we going to continue on with this stuff, man? I mean, like, maybe we maybe we push that along a little bit.
Shane Armstrong, yeah, he sees it. He definitely sees it. Yeah, okay. I was wondering.
And to that point, I mean, yeah, I see Shane's comment there. The UFC did a little tribute thing to him when he passed away.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, we will have to see how the White House pans out. We get closer and closer to it, yet we find out less and less about it. We first knew that they're going to build this arena. They're going to build these, not arena, but they're going to build this stuff. They're going to do all this. I ain't seen one fucking crane outside the White House.
I was going to say the same thing. It's funny that you mentioned that because, yeah, I was like, they're doing this. This is a $700,000 job just to get the lawn redone after this thing is over. You'd think we'd be seeing some type of in progress production shots. Where's the construction crew? I need to talk to the engineers.
So funny story, and this is going to be my pro wrestling tidbit of the day. If the chat doesn't like it, tune out. But they built an arena for the Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia. They built it in like a day or a week, some shit like that. I don't know what the fuck the case may be, but this arena wasn't necessarily set up correctly. So like there wasn't enough like concession stands, there wasn't enough water fountains, so people were fucking dehydrating all across this place because again, it was built in like a fucking week. So we might end up in a situation like this, and like again, it's gonna be the fanciest people that you've ever seen. They're gonna have their fucking dining cars full of food and shit rolled out to them, whatever you want to say. But can we start building the shit now? Like, how about we not have our rinky dink fucking pillars and shit over the White House built in 13 seconds? Get the cranes out there, start tearing up the yard. Like, let's see some actual work being done here, boys. Like, I know you're not doing the construction work. I drive on the potholes every fucking day.
Yeah, really. All of our tax dollars. No, apparently none of our tax dollars are going to this, but it is funny the idea of like, we're driving on roads that need repaving and they're building the octagon at the White House. But no, maybe they're doing it like the theme parks do, where it's all just behind big scaffolding that's like obscuring everything. Maybe that's what it is. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. There might be a live T-Rex exhibit on the side too. Speaking of theme parks, this is exactly what the White House was missing with the UFC card. Like when they walk out, there's just a shit like that.
Yeah, dude, I think that there's plenty of potential. That's a good job for some company to be getting. I like the idea of that being a thing,
Yeah. I was going to ask that too. When is the construction starting? The East Wing not impacted from that construction? I don't know exactly how it's going to work, dude. I would not be surprised if they accidentally just knock a whole fucking hole in the White House. Like,
didn't they already do that? Wasn't that a big thing recently? I don't know if you saw again. I know you're not as politically, you're not keeping up with that kind of stuff as much the day to day. But didn't they like tear a big hole in the side of the White House at some point recently? I thought that I saw like pictures of that. So maybe that could have been in service of that. I don't know what that was about, but. They're doing all kinds of new stuff. Trump's putting his name on different buildings all over the place. I mean, really making his mark these last 2 years that he's got.
Yeah, I just find it interesting that we have something called the Oval Office, and we are not trying our damnedest to make the inside of the cage in the Oval. Like where did we not come up with this idea? If we're gonna do all these obstructions and all these renovations, the Oval Office being the cage would have literally been the most legendary thing ever. Like, dude, Abe Lincoln had his fucking toes up on that desk or whatever. I don't know what the case may be, but Conor McGregor was throwing literal haymakers on the same place that George Washington was walking around.
So I mean, you're thinking that that they should have just had the octagon inside the Oval Office.
I think they should have just let the walls down. As you do in a building, you just bring the walls down. And then there's
open the side
cage now, and it's just open. Yeah.
Okay, I mean, fair. It's not the craziest idea. Although we have heard that the walkouts are going to be pretty interesting for this because the Oval Office will be represented. They are starting their walkouts from the Oval Office, if I'm not mistaken. Right? They're going to be. I don't know how long the walk is going to be. It's going to be quite a pageantry of this procession that they're going to have. They're starting in the office, through the White House, onto the lawn, into the cage.
So if you guys, again, pro wrestling. When you go back in the day and you look at the Royal Rumble, they have this big long, they still do this. They have this big long track for them to run out and run down. You know who didn't run? Andre the fucking Giant. They weren't going to have his ass walk down that fucking thing. You know what they got him on? A big old fucking cart. And they just rolled his ass down there. So
maybe that's it.
And everybody's going to do their their presidential waves and have a good time.
You think Connor's gonna wear like the cape like he did, with the crown like he had for the Maymack fight, and he's just gonna be on the back of a little scooter?
Yeah, no, he'll have a throne. Like he'll
Right.
have like a
Yeah.
chair, and he'll have like whatever the little staff is that kings have. He has one of those, and he's like propped up. He's got his Burger King crown.
Yeah,
So
dude. Maybe like they do like a modified Pope mobile kind of situation, put them all in a like a dome of some sort, and then they can kind of wave to everybody inside of there.
yeah.
A lot of options with this.
Do you think this is going to be the first iteration of when we finally get to see Def Rebel's attempt to make country themed theme songs for our fighters?
Another
Because
great
hear me
element
out.
of it. Yeah, yeah.
Because Ian Gary was supposed to be one of the few fighters that was going to first get one. Conor McGregor's also Irish, guys. So
True. This is very true. Yes. I mean, I don't know about like the a really good question in general. What is the music going to be like? Is it going to be patriotic themed across the board? Like, are there going to be actual walkout songs for the fighters that like normal with like an actual song, or is it going to be like fully choreographed music to, just to the event? You know what I mean? Like, is it just going to be like kind of generic America based sort of, that like kind of rocky, uplifting sort of rock music kind of feeling like a mega church sort of service.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this definitely screams mega church
Oh
vibes.
yeah. Oh yeah. To 10,000%. Yes, absolutely. And and the other thing too, that I mean, we talked about it a little bit, but something that is interesting to me, of course, the actual event itself at the White House is not going to have a large capacity for seating, but there's going to be an adjunct, I believe, on the national lawn that is going to be like a screen that they're going to be simulcasting to or whatever. It's gonna be like a party atmosphere out there for the fans and stuff. What's that going to look like from the fan experience? Like, are they doing anything special for those guys? Because like, if you're Joe America over here, you're traveling from fucking Tennessee and from Washington and across the country to go see this thing live, as live as you're going to be, as close as you're going to get as an average citizen on the national lawn. I would hope that they're doing something nice for those guys.
No, probably not. I would not say that's gonna happen. No, you get a big screen built and you can watch it from the rooftop over there or the fire escape, and that's about all you're gonna get. Order your pizza and call it a day.
Well, so Chase, are you insinuating that the wealthy and powerful elites are going to get one version of an America and the average citizen is going to get a different version?
Absolutely, and it's gonna be separated by one tiny little fence that if you step over, they will fuck you up. So
ICE is just lining that fence, is waiting for people to try to cross.
No, that's literally gonna happen. No, there's gonna be tanks, the Blackhawks. There's gonna have every form of status that America has for their like weaponry equipment for militarized vehicles and shit. All gonna be sprawled out. I would not. Is there an evil Knievel guy these days? Because he's probably liable to jump over four of them on a motorcycle or something. I think a flaming hoop is not out of question. Just saying.
True. Well, yeah, I mean, and of course, obviously, I'm not insinuating anything negative here, but to your point, this is going to be a large amount of world leaders, a larger amount of very powerful people all in one place. So I'm sure security is going to be through the nose.
I would like to also. I think this might be the last pro wrestling thing I throw out. I think we are very close. And I think we are, if not close, then we are almost already knowing that the WWE is going to have a hand in the entrances because Def Rebel potentially, we could see something with that. But two, this is an outdoor event. We are going to get pyro. They are going to have the fireworks shoot off.
Yeah.
They're going to be red, white, and blue all over. You don't just fire pyro off because it's the fuck of it. It has its moments in the entrance. When they come out, it's poof, and then they have their moment, and then they do like their little emote, poof, 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 and then and then maybe even spark them while they run down. Whatever the case may be, there has to be an element because it's going to be nighttime. It's going to be outside. You're going to have the ability to have fireworks. This is America. We better have fucking fireworks off this motherfucker. Like they better be on the octagon, just shooting out the top. So
yeah, absolutely, man. No, I mean the bombs bursting in air kind of thing from our national anthem, whatever. I mean, like this is it's at the core of Americanism, the pyro. So yeah, I agree. I think it's definitely going to be there.
I have the best question.
Sure.
When this is all said and done, and we're maybe 2 years out of this, probably not even. I think they'll put a stamp on this immediately, and they'll get it into production. Who do you think is going to be on the statue that they have when they build for this monumental occasion. You know, there's going to be a monument outside the White House of two fighters, and Donald Trump's probably shaking the hand or something of one of them, and they're going to be like, "Here lies where the first and only UFC card on the White House lawn was," and it's a picture of Conor McGregor or something, or it's a statue. You know, what is it going to be, Thinker? What are you thinking?
Oh, I don't think it's fighters. I think it's Dana.
You
I think
think
it's
Dana
yeah.
and Donald Trump?
I think so. Absolutely. They're friends already. They've been longtime friends. You know, Dana very vocal about the support from back in the day. And again, you know, look, guys, I always say, like, I mean, regardless of how you feel politically, Donald Trump is very important to the sport of mixed martial arts. If it was not for Donald Trump, that we might not have mixed martial arts as we have it today. So I think that the connection there, it makes perfect sense to me, you know?
Yeah, this will be definitely interesting. It'll be bronze probably because I feel like that doesn't age horribly. But we've seen statues more recently. Obviously, you see the George St. Pierre one. We got to get it right. Two guys. Donald Trump would be really hard to statue, by the way. Really, really
Because of
difficult
the hair.
because the hair, dude.
Yeah.
That would be really bad. It wouldn't come out right. You wouldn't be able to. Anyway, he would look like Johnny Bravo. And I don't know. A statue would be nice. I can definitely see that coming to fruition. I can see that.
Yeah, no, I like you said though, you know, if we're gonna do statues, can't be GSP Obama, it cannot be LeBron James either. You know, there
Yeah.
we've seen some really bad bronze
Kobe
statues.
Bryant. That was the bad one.
Well, I think him and LeBron then, because I know that I mean, God, how many people have bad bronze statues
True.
at this point? Then,
Yeah.
good Lord, maybe we really need to get these faces right. Get that facial scanning 3D technology on there, you know?
So, what are we thinking the size of this statue or monument is going to be? Because potentially Donald Trump, Dana White, I'm thinking Statue of Liberty size. Like, what are we thinking? Right in the backyard? Like, there's a
Out
monument
front?
No, 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 the backyard.
Okay.
The
Okay. Yeah,
backyard.
yeah.
So you can see it, obviously. You know, isn't there like isn't there one of the not the Lincoln Monument, the big tall one that's just like a fucking pencil. We can just put our Dana White Donald Trump statue. Just push that shit out the way.
Right, that's the national
Right there.
monument on the national lawn. That's where the adjunct is going to be for all the regular people. But yeah, no, maybe that there you go. I think you just we just answered the question together right then. You know that maybe that's how they tie it all in. This was the spot, you know, that the people watched it, and now
Yeah.
you get a statue of Trump and Dana together, Statue of Liberty size. That's a big statue, but you know, I mean, this administration probably would go for something that big. So
I actually have decided. So you're right. They're gonna have a group meeting, and they're gonna decide this is the spot right here where we build the bench. Right, it's gonna be a bench, and it's gonna have a little plaque on it. But it's gonna be a bench that also has the statues on it. One side is Donald Trump, the other side's Dana White, and you would sit.
you get to sit in the middle. I love it. I love this idea. Yes, you know, and then everybody can have their little photo ops with the two greatest of great Americans.
And they're sitting there with their hands out like that, so you can
Oh.
shake one of their hands.
What an idea. I love that. That is so, you know, you can do one of those. You can do like the cross
True.
handshake type of dealy there.
Maybe
I-
maybe you can get one of the because you're bros. You know, it's Don and Dana. You know, Don and Dan. You know.
Exactly, dude. You're just hanging out with the homies, you know, talking fights. What a deal. I like it. I think that there's something to it.
Hell yeah. So when I go to the DC meeting and I let you guys know where I scaled out for our star of whatever Hollywood or whatever out there, we're getting it done. We're getting a monument, and
That's
I'll
right.
be
Chat.
taking a picture with it.
You got to make sure that you lobby your congressman to get Chase on the planning committee for this. Obviously, the ideas are there. This is an idea man, you know, in Chase Parton here. He comes through with the big ideas, big enough for what that would deserve.
If not Statue of Liberty size, I mean, we can go smaller. I trust me, go big or go home, but we can go smaller, maybe. And I'm just saying maybe. There's like a big oak tree somewhere in America. Like, just make it about the size of a big oak tree, and I think we're good on the size of the statue because you got to be able to see it. Like, people when they fly over, they're like, "That's Donald Trump right there. That's the statue of Donald Trump." You know,
Yeah, I mean, you can make it life size, and then at least people can be, you know, like you said, you know, if they're sitting next to each other on the bench, then it's a life size one. That makes sense, right?
yeah, true. I do like the bench idea though. That one is pretty cool. You know?
Yeah.
But
No, either way, look, there are plenty of options. We can find something that makes sense, you know.
Exactly, James. A bench like the one at Disney World, but with those two instead. Yeah, they'd be on
Correct.
opposite
Yes.
sides of you. Yeah, that'd be really
Absolutely.
cool.
So, we will find out in due time all of what will happen with the White House card. And as we've been saying a couple of times now, sooner than later. I mean, if Dana is to be believed, which, who knows whether that is the case or not, but if he is to be believed, then the White House card should by now be either locked in or getting ready to be locked in, like maybe Monday, maybe Tuesday, sometime this week, maybe next week, the week after, whatever. Like within the next couple of weeks, we should have some type of information, I would suspect, unless they are intentionally keeping us in suspense. My other last question that I had about this, Chase, are they going to do a big, grandiose reveal of the card, or are we getting 240p Dana in the war room?
No, we're going to get Crazy Kev, unfortunately.
He never misses. God,
I know. Unfortunately, we will never find out until it happens. Until they are in the cage. That is my general rule of thumb. I do not believe a fight is happening until both of them are in the fucking cage, because too many things happen.
Well, this is why, I'm surprised that Crazy Kev does not already have the card, like at this point, like per sources,
Yeah.
But and that's also the other reason why I don't, I'm going to believe it when I see it as far as official announcements goes for Yuri and Chimaev. But, we'll find, all will be revealed as it always is, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Good deal. All right. Well, I guess then that is about it for everything. We got a nice little discussion about the White House in there at the end. Chat, you guys are always awesome, man. Thank you guys for hanging out. James Bjorn again chilling with us tonight. A couple of new people in the chat as well. Guys, you are really tuning in to greatness over here. We appreciate you very much. Make sure that you are subscribing not only to Yama, but also to Chase Parton. And Chase, I know you can let them know where that's at.
Hell yeah, youtube.com/@CBSmalls. And of course, tomorrow we'll be watching UFC. Well, today, of course, we'll be watching UFC. So I'm very excited about that.
You are goddamn right. We will be. Of course, that is youtube.com/@Yama Show for myself here. And yes, we will be on our individual watch alongs for that. Of course, on Monday, you get more of us on the podcast. We're coming back to talk about all of the fights that we're going to be watching this weekend. Monday nights, generally at 10 o'clock, if not 10, 11 o'clock. We're usually doing 10 or 11 now, and that's been working out pretty well. So come around on Monday nights, hang out with us for that. You'll get to hear all of our thoughts on the fights that we're going to be watching. And we've got MMA on film coming up as well, guys. We're going to be watching the classic film Bloodsport very soon. We will be doing our review of that. And then if you have other films, MMA related, that you would like to see us review, we've got so many now that are coming out and so many already on the list. Make sure you let us know which ones you want coming up first and foremost so that we can get to your suggestions and keep the train moving after that. So until next time, everybody, thanks again for hanging out with us. And we'll see you tomorrow for the fights. Have a great rest of your night. And as always, fight on.